Did it finish? Why did the music stop? Oh, something I've done with my setting because I can't hear it now. What have I done? What have I done? I've messed something up. The music, I can't hear it. Okay, now it's back. That was weird. Weird. Oops, I didn't change my phone. Oops. I dummy. Okay, let's get some people in here. Can be. Next, they don't outright change arguments. Can be. Are you finding me being wrong? Yeah, I mean, I'm wrong on stuff. Obviously, I'm not wrong about the Kirby barrier. Because that's just factually correct. I've shown you what the Kirby barrier is. So how can I be wrong about something that's like actual numbers, Vinnie Mac? It's like literally numbers that you can see. How can I be wrong about it? Please explain that to me. I'm not wrong about the Kirby barrier. Right, how's my audio? Can people hear me on this stream? Can you hear me on this stream? Please like this stream. I can check my audio, but I can't. It's difficult to hear it myself, right? Check my audio, but it's difficult to hear it myself. Alright, I can hear myself coming through. I don't know how that is. How's he feel? Of course, yeah, he made Twitter officially worse when he bought it. Well, hang on, I don't know if, oh no, that's in the other chat. Yeah, he made Twitter worse. So I'm barely there anymore. This is terrible now. If you're a non-Twitter user, yeah, I know they did that ages ago. You can't see tweets. You can't see them. There's a huge deal in terms of search engine. He's gonna make niche Bandai Namco. Oh my god, Patrick's kicking off. Patrick on the notice board, see Patrick's actually kicking off. I feel you. Okay, we're gonna have another low key stream today. Oh, let me tweet out, not tweet out, say it in the chat. Okay, thank you for joining me for the pre-show. I'm going to head on over to the on-air room and I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye. Okay. Check 1, 2. Hello, Dank. Dank, please tell me how my audio is and if everything's fine. Let me check on Streamlabs. If everything's fine, we can get started. Hi, Mousy. I wish Streamlabs had some like I don't think they have it, noise cancelling software, like, because like Discord has noise cancelling software. Hi Johannes, thanks for coming through. Audio sounds good. Okay, unfortunately they don't have noise cancelling software on here, so you can see all my background noise and all this nonsense. So I'm gonna look into that, see if there's a way to do it. Yes, you are welcome. Yeah, maybe there is a way to do noise cancelling on via Streamlabs. I don't know. So yeah, you're gonna hear me drinking, opening my bottle, everything. Apologies for that. Oh, Ardagium, welcome. I've never seen you here, but yes you are. I'm not sure I've seen you either. Both welcome to the stream. We're gonna start in just a second. You can probably hear the wind howling. The weather at the moment in London is not good. And in London, often the Patrick Hatcher. Hang on, are you a wolf, a bunny? Patrick? That Patrick? Bandai Namco mega fan Patrick? Is that the same Patrick? You even opened. I've had this YouTube channel for months, Patrick. Months. It's been here since January. Yes. You can even see my old streams. Okay. Are you the same Patrick? You've got to be. Okay, so let's get started. You can hear me okay? Awesome. And welcome everybody to another live stream of Game Corner Shop. I'm your host Jodie, and today we'll be talking about Final Fantasy 16 sales. Yes, we finally got the sales for Final Fantasy 16 worldwide, as well as the Famitsu sales, which is very eye-opening, so we'll be talking about that. Patrick Cousins, I'm sorry, the Streamlabs bot caught you capitalizing Idolmaster. I can see it on the stream though. Yep, it's me, the Wolf Bunny 64. You can tell because of my icon. It's a 765 production icon thanks to the Idolmaster portal. Welcome Patrick. I'm sure you was the same Bandai Namco mega fan. Patrick, welcome. Adagium. Hello there, I follow you on Twitter. I'm the one that doesn't understand a thing. Ha ha ha. And you're kind enough to explaining. Thanks for that. Well, thank you, Adagium. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, there's wind howling. Okay, so you can hear that. Don't worry about that. I'm not like in the mountains. Like Mousy lives in the mountains. I don't live in the mountains. I just live very high up. I live on the 10th floor. So if it gets any type of wind gets up, like you can hear it obviously whistling around the building. So that's why it kind of sounds like that. Now, the music we have this week is this, not the Kirby barrier. It's not the Kirby. We're going to come back to the Kirby barrier. Is this so-called Kirby? I'm saying so-called Kirby and the Forgotten Land hip hop. Lo-fi, because I have played this complete game. I've heard the entire OST, and this music remix does not resemble the original music at all. Like I can't even hear the original, like the tune of any of them. So I mean, it just kind of seems like generic lo-fi, if I'm honest. So yeah, I would like something a bit more distinctive. It doesn't really... Like, it's really difficult to hear the original song if you know what I mean. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. Johannes and Vinnie Mac, you're still in the pre-show room, so feel welcome to leave that room and come over to the live stream. I dropped the link in our Discord channel, so please come through there. Wait, hang on, can I do, I'll put another one there. See, oh, you said you're coming through. Okay, so you did come through, Johannes, but Vinnie Mac is still in there. Vinnie Mac, you're in there by yourself. So yeah, so I'm calling this so-called lo-fi, with Kirby lo-fi. It doesn't sound, it sounds generic. Yeah, but I can't even hear the Kirby. Can you hear the Kirby in this? I'm having trouble. Like, the tune, it's like, it's so welcome J2. Then it's so subtle that then I can't hear anything. Let me pop out this chat. Not hi chat. Pop out. Where's the pop out? Pop out chat. Pop out chat. Okay. So hopefully this will make it a bit easier to see. So yeah, sorry about the streaming spot. You haven't said anything. Welcome Jago. But it's just Streamlabs beaming. Yes, sorry about that. I will need. It's basically, if you do a whole string of like capitals and stuff, it like catches you. So I need. Patrick Adams, you're claiming not to be a Bandai Namco superfan. All you talk about is Bandai Namco. That's all we talk about. What? I'm not that much of a Bandai Namco superfan yet, but I'm more into Pac-Man, Taiko no Tatsujin, and Idolmaster. Okay, well, those are Bandai Namco games, all three of those. The current Namco game Namco Switch game I'm playing at the moment is Kakarot. Yes. I don't know, Patrick, I don't know, man. It's a little bit difficult for me to like say that you're not a Bandai Namco mega fan. That's all you. I don't know, man. You have a Pac-Man icon. I don't know, man. But okay, if you say you're not a mega fan, then you're not a mega fan. You're just a fan, right? Not a super fan, not a mega fan, just a fan. It's just three Bandai. Yeah, but Jacob, you don't understand. Patrick Adams only ever talks about Bandai Namco, like almost to the exclusion of everything else. So that is why I thought you was a mega fan, Patrick Adams. You're talking about you're sending files of Pac-Man art that you've done to the Bandai Namco Instagram channel. I don't know, man. That sounds like you're a big Bandai Namco fan to me. But okay, fine. If you say you're not, then that's fine. I won't argue with you. You just like Pac-Man. Oh yeah, I love Pac-Man too. Okay. So let's start with these sales. What we do is, right, every week we discuss the Famitsu sales in an audio format, because there really aren't any other audio formats that kind of go into details about the Japanese console market, because it is such a niche and nerdy thing. I guess nobody cares to do podcast about it, but hey, that's what we're doing, okay? We're doing a niche nerdy podcast about Japanese video game sales. Now this week was especially interesting because we had the release of Final Fantasy 16, which released last Thursday. So we have like 4 days worth of sales in Japan. These are the physical Famitsu charts, and what's interesting here was that a lot of people, I mean, this was obviously a very high, in terms of just the game itself, was just extremely highly anticipated, right? Because it's a brand new Final Fantasy. But also from a sales perspective, people were especially interested in this game to see specifically how it would perform in Japan, because it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive game. There's no PlayStation 4 version, okay? And PlayStation 5 software has been struggling in Japan, to put it mildly. So people were concerned about this game's performance and set a very low bar as to what this would perform, because the pre-orders were had been so low. Now, in the end, the game has sold over 300,000, which you would think would be like super great, but the thing is that this is a mainline Final Fantasy in Japan, its home country, and this is done half as what the previous 2 games have done. Even if you want to add digital in there, it's still underperformed. And when we did get PR from Square Enix, we didn't get a Japan region breakdown, which they have done for Final Fantasy VII Remake. I can't remember whether they did it for I couldn't find if they did it for 15. I know that for 15 it did about 1 million in Japan, but I couldn't find like an official Square Enix statement saying that. I think that was for Media Create data. But regardless, it did over 1 million in Japan. Oops, sorry, I just hit my mic. It did over 1 million in Japan. So with this game, the release includes bundles as well. The game was bundled with both the disc and digital edition of the PlayStation 5, and it's a code, but because it's being sold physically in stores, right, it counts towards the sales, right? So this is including the bundle. Even if you add digital, this is going to be like 50% lower than Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 15, because when you look at the whole shipment and you add digital, it's going to be around 500,000. And we know that Final Fantasy VII Remake did 1 million in Japan, including digital. So if this one's 500,000, once you add digital, take this 336,000, add digital, the bundles are in it, you know, adds like the total shipment, right? Because it hasn't like completely like sold out. You can still get, it's the sell through's high, but it's still on store shelves, right? So add the total shipment, add digital, it's going to be about 500,000, roughly, you know, maybe 450, 500,000, right? The sales of Final Fantasy VII Remake was 1 million in Japan. It's 50% lower, right? And that kind of checks out with the physical sales being around 50% lower as well, right? So that's why there was no PR from Square Enix about the sales of the game in Japan, because a loss of 50%, of a loss of like 500,000 sales is, you know, they cannot be happy about that. That's all I can say, really. They must cannot be happy about that. Okay, so let's have a look. I just make sure I'm not missing anything in this chat. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 3. Is it? Yes, it is. It's at number 3. Bring up the Kirby barrier. Okay, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this Kirby barrier. Can you hear the music, by the way? That just, to me, it sounds like generic loaf. I don't know how this is supposed to be Kirby. This is generic. But look, if you look at this thing where I'm playing it from, not that. This, it says it is Kirby Lo-Fi. Kirby Forgotten Lands Lo-Fi Hip Hop. Does it sound like Kirby? I don't know, man. This gameplay of the game, I don't know, man. This doesn't it doesn't sound like Kirby, but you know, maybe we'll get, you know, something. Next time we'll vet some music. If you have recommendation for Kirby music, you can recommend any music, and I will vet it in the pre-show. So it has to be video game music, right? That's the first thing. It has to be video game music. And like that's not copyrighted on YouTube, and also it needs to well, I prefer it to be like a more of a lo-fi or like a chill vibe, because that's what we're going for on the show. And also no Sonic music. Sonic is banned. Sonic music is banned. Alright, so if you want to know why Sonic music is banned, you can just ask Jago. Alright, he'll explain. Sonic music is banned. So those are the only criteria for music. If you have music recommendations, let me know. But right now, we're just playing this. Apparently, this is Kirby. I don't know, but you know what? It's fine. It's a nice. It doesn't really sound like Kirby to me. The vibe is nice enough, so we'll just stick with it for now. No, excuse me. What is this? Jodie has awful taste. No, That's not, no, that is not the reason why. No, Jago. That is not why Sonic Music is banned. Sonic Music is banned because it's too hyper. And it's not good. There's that as well. So, you can't, we can't, I'm literally playing, oh my god. How can I hate Kirby when I literally have a Kirby thing on the screen right now? That makes no sense. I like Kirby. Oh my god, I'm not this again. I don't know, where does this come from that I hate Kirby? I just talk about the Kirby. I'll explain for newcomers, right? I'll explain what this Kirby barrier is. Right, I have to explain the Kirby barrier. So there's this game here. Not this one. That's the wrong one. Hang on. Oh, I've got the wrong one. Not that one. That's the wrong one. That's Kirby and I've forgotten that. No. That's not the Kirby barrier. That is not the Kirby barrier. Ugh, I need to find it now. But I'll show you what the Kirby barrier is. I could have sworn I had the thing open. Right? I had the wrong thing open. Right. So we're gonna go into the full chart because this game is still charting every week. And it's right here. Right? This game, right? It's not Forgotten Land. This is the one we're talking about. This game is called Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Okay. This game, right, is a port from the Wii. Right? It is a Wii game that's over 10 years old that they have ported to Switch, and it's not a remaster, and it's a port that has been ported to Switch. It's been ported to Switch. It's not a Jago. It's not a remaster. Alright? It is a port. It's a port. I'm not Jago. I'm not this again. Every week. Every bloody week. This. What? Don't listen to Jago. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Alright? Anyway, this game, right, is not a new game, right? And it's also from a franchise that I would consider to be more of a B-tier Nintendo franchise. Not in terms of the quality of the game, in terms of sales, right? You've got the mega sellers, Pokemon, Mario, and the Zelda's up there now as well. You've got something that's like still sells really well. Maybe like Luigi's Mansion, like 10 million. Luigi's Mansion 3, 10 million sellers, right? Okay, Kirby's kind of below that, right? Now the most recent game, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, has become the best-selling Kirby game ever. It's over 5 million, right? But until that game, nothing had really. Oh, Luigi's Mansion 3 is at 14 million. Okay, well there you go. That's the very good sales. So yeah, no Kirby games had sold over 5 million. So it's kind of like a mid-selling game, right? In terms of sales, right? Not the quality. Good lord, stop coming at me. I'm not talking about the quality of the game. I'm not commenting on the quality. I'm just talking about what the actual sales are, right? So this game, when this game came out, right, it overperformed in Japan, right? It sold 189,000 first week, right? It's an overperformance for this game that is not even a new game. It's an old game of B-tier Nintendo franchise. Now, the reason why I use this particular game, right, is because it overperformed. It's not a new game. I feel like this is a pretty low bar for a game to pass that is either a AAA or a big or higher profile release should be able to outsell this game at 189,000. Final Fantasy 16 outsold this game, right? It passed the Kirby barrier. It outsold this game, right? It still underperformed for a Final Fantasy game, but it passed this game. And as I discussed in the pre-show, there were many PlayStation 4 games that managed to outsell this. So if we could even look on here, I'm getting really sidetracked now. I was meant to do this later, but it, you know, Jago's going into one, so fine, whatever. Hardware at PlayStation 4, so we can open up PlayStation 4. Here are the top selling games on PlayStation 4, right? So basically, apart from Minecraft, because it's not ordered by first week. Let's do it by first week. By first week, okay. So first week sales Everything in the top, and the order's a bit mixed because I changed it to first week rather than total, because Minecraft only sold like 5,000 first week, but went on to sell tons, obviously. You can see everything in the top 10 past the Kirby barrier, right? So we're in a situation now where there's future games that are going to be PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 exclusive that are not going to pass this Kirby barrier. They're not going to do it. These ones easily. Monster Hunter World, Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest 11, Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, because Final Fantasy 16 is released and has sold half as the two previous ones, I'm kind of in mind that every other game that comes out now is just going to sell 50% of what it did on the PlayStation 4, you know. So the next Kingdom Hearts 4, whenever that comes, oh, who knows when that's coming out, it's probably going to be half of this, you know. It's almost 700,000. It's probably going to be half of that, you know. You're probably looking at like 300,000 maybe, in my opinion. The next Persona, when that comes out, whenever that comes out in 2020X, whenever that comes out, 2025, well, yeah, that's what I mean, like, it's probably 2025, Jago, for the next Kingdom Hearts. You know, including PlayStation 3, this was like, it was like 345,000. Persona 6 is not going to sell that much. It won't be able to sell that amount when you have, you know, basically PlayStation is a niche console now in Japan compared to the Switch. You know, it's making up maybe 10 to 15% of the sales and of the software sales and dropping, you know. So that's the Kirby barrier for people who wondered how to explain it. And for whatever reason, because I decided to use that game, everyone thinks I hate Kirby. No, that is not the reason why I'm using that game. What, it doesn't even make any sense. Why would I use that game if I hated Kirby? No, this. Oh my god. We know you hate Kirby. I don't. I 100% had forgotten. Do you know what? I not only did I 100% Forgotten Land. Okay, I always bang on about that Kirby. What's that game called? Kirby Super Crash. That game was amazing. It's like a free to start game. Just ignore it. It's play just buy the full gem apple tree. Right? New levels, new ending. So look, stop this. I have that game. I'm going to play it. She claims 20 stages. It's one long stage. The Magna Lord, whatever level. That is just one long stage, Jago. We've discussed this. They added a few little extra foliage. It's still a port. Anyway, Jago, stop this. Patrick Adams. So Jodie, will you? What? Are you out of your mind? What? No. I'm Patrick. Sorry, that was rude. I'm not trying to say like, are you out of your mind? But I'm just like, yeah, I wish I could do this. So, were you planning to go to Tokyo Game Show in 2023 September to put your Japanese language skills to the test? I can't have permission for you if it can be done. First of all, I wish I could do that. I can't do that. And my Japanese language skills are very poor, Patrick Adams. And you're learning Japanese as well, right? So you know about the JLPT levels. I'm N5 levels. That's the lowest level. I'm like N5. I have improved a lot though, and I had a Japanese lesson yesterday, and my sensei said that she had noticed that I have improved. I've noticeably improved because I've been studying consistently every day. So even from a few months ago, I can notice there's like a dramatic improvement. Improved enough to go to somewhere like Tokyo Game Show and have like no. That's the one thing. I just like no. My Japanese language skills are very, very, very poor. But I wish I could go. I wish I could go. I do want to go to Japan. Originally I was gonna go this year, but then I kind of chickened out. So so I'm like, no, I can't, because look, these Magna levels, right? Is Jago, okay? There's not even that much content. So stop it now. Johannes says, I believe N5 or N4 you'll be fine. At least some basic conversation. Oh, I don't know, Johannes. I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I'm still learning like the grammar. I'm kind of like getting onto like learning the N4 grammar now, which I'm going to start. I'm on track to start that in like, let's say like maybe a month from now, just over a month, like 5 weeks. I've worked out how long it's going to take. The Kirby slander. There's no Kirby slander. Kirby slander. That would mean I've been put in the. That means I'm like trying to bring the game into Kirby into disrepute. But I haven't done that. That's not happened. The art style's been. They added a few extra foliage. Jago, every week, just every week, this happens. Every week. Oh my god. Okay, let's talk about these sales. Now, what we're going to do is talk about the sales first, and then I'm going to invite everyone in via Discord to join me on the call, and we can discuss all these news and topics. But first of all, I wanted to talk about these sales a little bit. So Final Fantasy 16 we went into a bit already, and yeah, so compared to, as you can see here, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, it is, you know, half of this sales, unfortunately. And the same with Final Fantasy 15 was 716 first week. So, you know, so there was consistency between 15, which released in 2016, and then this released in 2020, like 4 years later, and it was like almost the same sales. And then add another 3 years and it's dropped by 50%. You know, I don't think that would be necessarily like what Square Enix would have expected when they started development of this game. I don't think they thought it was going to sell like 50%. Now we're going to talk into the reasons to why maybe the sales are lower in a bit, but it's, you know, for Final Fantasy it's not good in terms of like, it is the best-selling PlayStation 5 game in Japan, sure. Every single Final Fantasy game I'm pretty sure every Final Fantasy game ended up being the best. Everyone that is released on PlayStation in Japan ended up being the best-selling game on that platform. Most of them, anyway. The majority of maybe not going back to 7, because that was on obviously PS2. But like every other one ended up being the best-selling. So for it to do that is like, I feel like it's expected for a Final Fantasy game to be the best-selling on a PlayStation console. So I'm not particularly surprised or impressed by that. That to me, that's just like the bare minimum. It should be the best-selling game, which it is. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about it myself. But at number 2, we still have The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom with 25,000. Has that gone up or down from last week? Where are we at with that? Is that up or down? I don't know. Hang on. Let's open up the thing. It's down. Oh, it's down 9. Jago, this is why I need you, Jago. This is why I need you. Jago says it's down 19% from last week. Thank you very much. Down 19%. I should have the thing open here. Not that one. The full chart. Yeah, 19% error. A lot of stuff was up, but oh no, a lot of stuff's down as well. So yeah, it's better than last week when everything was down. There's a few things up this week. So number 3, Mario Kart 8. Oh yeah, so that's 25,000. Number 3, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 8,000. Number 4, Minecraft, 6,000. Number 5, Nintendo Switch Sports, 6,000. Number 6, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, 4.9 thousand, I guess almost 5,000, 4.9 thousand. Number 7, Splatoon 3, 4.5 thousand. Number 8, I'll look at that in a sec. No, number 8 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 4.2 thousand. Number 9 is Ring Fit Adventure, 4.2 thousand. Number 10, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 3.5 thousand. Okay, so we can talk about a little bit about Street Fighter 6 is still here, both versions, and Street Fighter 6 considering it didn't start that high, its legs have been decent so far. So hang on, let me look at this thing. Let's see where it's at. So yeah, it's down. The PlayStation 5 version is down 28%, and the PlayStation 4 version is down 16%. Now the hold on this game is maybe been sorry, there's some very loud motorcycles. The hold on this game has maybe been a little better. Being a multiplayer game, I think helps that. So maybe that's why. I couldn't really tell you, but it's pretty. You know what? Do you know what? Something I need to address this. What is happening here? I'm the one who's being slandered. They're slandering me in the Discord, saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's definitely remastered. I can hear her slander in the meeting. Listen. It's literally just a few extra Foley. No. What is there to have? I am not discussing this about what a remaster is. I've already discussed what a remaster is before in the past. So we're not talking about Kirby's old ass Wii port. It needs to stop. Okay, so and then we have we have one new release, right? So this is Sonic Origins Plus, which is a physical version of a game that's already been available digitally for like, oh gosh, like over a year. Is it a year? When did that come out? I can't even remember. But it's been available digitally for a long time. It must be like a year. That's right, it's 12 months. Okay, thank you, Jay. It's like 12 months, so it's been a year. So that's why this game is not, you know, obviously it's not selling that much in the Famitsu chart because, you know, a lot of people would have bought it. This version adds some extra content and stuff like that, and you know, some physical collectors probably also wanted it. So yeah, that's 1.6 thousand. Now I'm sure there were PlayStation versions of this game, but they didn't chart here. I'm pretty sure it was, but unfortunately we can't see them here. So that's the only new release this week. It adds 15 Game Gear. Oh, really? 15 Game Gear games? And a new playable character. Cool. So, yeah, I might get that at some point. Sonic Origins Plus. And then, yeah, and then we have basically Diablo 4. Still hanging. That's a PlayStation 4 version and it's a PlayStation 5 version. So, yeah, so this is how things are looking right now with the thing. And because of the release of Final Fantasy 16, we have this week PlayStation 5 with 77% of the software sales. Obviously that's not the usual situation, but that is how it is this week. And because that, it's made PlayStation 5 total software sales for the year jump up to 15%. So 15%, but then Switch is still 79%, even though this is released. So yeah, okay. So, you know, the sales of Final Fantasy 16, not the best in Japan, unfortunately. So, but that's about the state of the software in PlayStation 5 software in Japan now. That this is probably this definitely is the biggest release this calendar year for the PlayStation 5. I don't think anything else is even gonna come near what this sold. I know, like, what else is coming out? Armored Core 6. Is it a 6 or whichever Armored Core it is? I can't remember the number. Is it 6? That's not gonna, you know, it might sell over 100k or something, but it's not gonna sell over 300,000. And then you got Spider-Man. Spider-Man is also not. The first game wasn't a giant seller in Japan, so I wouldn't expect the next one to be a giant seller either. The first one sold over 100k. Let me check quickly. I can't remember what it sells. Let's have a look. Marvel Spider-Man, this one. It was okay. So 132,000 first week. Now I know it says also on Xbox, PS2, but what it is that there's been many games called Spider-Man, so this website has kind of like put them all together. These are it wasn't on the Game Boy. It's not the same game. It's a completely different Spider-Man game. It's just obviously there's been a lot of Spider-Man games over the years, so it kind of like puts them together. But it's kind of funny that this will come up like that. Mousy says, I'll be out of the meeting in around 40 minutes. Awesome. Do you think you could come on the call? Jago says it. When I say it, I guess you're referring to Sonic Origins Plus. It also launched on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, but they never charted. It's the biggest PlayStation 5 PS5 will probably get, and yes, Armored Core 6. I think Armored Core can hit 120 to 150,000. Yeah, so that it could hit that, yes. I think it seems like it could be at least 100,000, right? But basically what I'm saying, it's not going to outsell Final Fantasy 16. That's the biggest release of this calendar year. Next year we'll have Rebirth, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So we'll have to wait and see how that does. But that's like next calendar year. So I'm just referring to this calendar year at the moment. So yeah. So why did I look that up again? I can't remember. But anyway, let's look at the hardware sales this week. Hardware, PlayStation 5. Now, I thought there would be more of a boost I don't know about anyone else, but I thought it was going to be like 100,000 PlayStation 5s. So, yeah, so it's a little bit under what I thought. So when I first glanced at this chart, I actually thought that was 105,000 PlayStation 5s. And then I had to do a double take, and it's actually switched. That's 105. A PlayStation 5 sold 85,000, so that is still up from last week, 51,000. Now I think the 51,000 was also up from the previous week, so this may have been people that were also anticipating the release of Final Fantasy 16. It wouldn't have been the bundles though, because the bundles, because they came with the game, you had to pre-order them, and you could only get them on the day of release of Final Fantasy 16, right? Which was 22nd of June. So you could only get it on that day. So bundles are included with this one. So that's why I'm surprised that it's kind of low, 22nd of June, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of surprised. So it's like the bundle, I think though the bundle, I think people that bought the bundle were people that wanted the game. It wasn't like what we saw in 2021, where there was kind of like forced bundle. What was 2021? Maybe early, like 2022, when there was this kind of like forced bundles where there wasn't, in the sense that there wasn't like you couldn't get hold of the PlayStation 5 without a bundled game. So it kind of inflated the sales of a few games. But I don't think that's what's going on here, because the PlayStation 5 is widely available, including the version that doesn't have any bundled software. So I think all the people that bought a PlayStation 5 and Final Fantasy 16 bundle actually wanted the game. So is what I'm trying to say. I feel like a big opportunity was missed by not making the bundle more desirable by having it with because they made these Japan exclusive like plates, Final Fantasy 16 plates, and DualSense controller. If they had done that, so you could get like a PlayStation 5 that had those plates, and then instead of the regular controller it had that Final Fantasy 16 one and the code, I think that would have boosted things more, because that would have been far more desirable. But unfortunately it's just like a regular PlayStation 5, and you can get either the digital or the disc version. So in either case you get a digital code. So the code, because it comes in a box and it's sold at retail, counts towards the Famitsu sales. So the numbers that we saw, the 330,000, includes the bundles. But even that being said, I'm still kind of surprised that PlayStation 5 hardware sales weren't like 100,000. 100,000 was about what I was expecting, but it's fallen a bit below that. Now as for the Switch, Why is that 100? There's no new software out apart from Sonic Origins Plus, which didn't sell a lot, as we saw on the chart. So this 105,000 is very high. It's almost 106,000 actually. It's very high, and I think it's like the highest for this week, which is like week 20. Is it week 27 or week 28? It might be, I can't remember. Which number week is it? It might be week 27. Hang on, let me check this thing here. Not that one. So I'm just looking on install base forum. Oh, is it it's week 26. Famitsu sales week 26. So I think it's like the highest ever week 26. I could be wrong on that, but it's one of the highest anyway. Let's put it that way. I don't remember if it's the highest or not. It might be in the thread marks. No. Oh, maybe it's not here. Graph. Okay, so these are the Hiskakun graphs. Oh no, this is not what I was thinking of. Where's the chart where it's just like all of the numbers for the... Who makes that one? This Legend of Zelda for Switch comparison. Oh, well, yeah, you can see. Was this Tears of the Kingdom's like way above there. Oh look, here's some this is a good chart. Oh god, how do I get it to like... Okay. So this chart is Final Fantasy. Let me close this so to make it easier. Final Fantasy main entries first week debuts since 6, right? So this is since 6. So basically, oh my god, 7. It's just since 6, but yeah, it was like 7 onwards. Oh no, sorry, no, it is 6. 6 is on here. Okay, so 6 is included. How do I close this thing on the bottom? Can I not just have it like that with the thing on the bottom? Or do I have to do that? Okay, that's better. Right, so you can see here, these are Final Fantasy debuts, right? First week. So Final Fantasy 6 was 1.1 million, 1.15 million. Then Final Fantasy 7, 2 million, right? So when we're talking about the decline of Final Fantasy, obviously back on the PlayStation 2, and I think Final Fantasy 6 was the Super Famicom, not PlayStation 2, so PlayStation 1 and the Super Famicom, there was no digital sales. So this is all physical. So the sales now, even if you 100% doubled it, let's just double it and say, oh well, 100% of the people that bought it, was the digital was that high, and you get to 600,000. It's still dwarfed by what Final Fantasy used to be in Japan. So this is what people are talking about with the decline of Final Fantasy in Japan. So Final Fantasy 8 was 2.5 million. So this is where the franchise peaked in Japan, as you can see, with Final Fantasy 8. It's the highest first week sales. Final Fantasy 9 was 1.95 million. Final Fantasy X, 1.74 million. And then Final Fantasy 12 goes up a bit to 1.84 million. And then it's very downhill from there. So Final Fantasy 13, this obviously, we need to talk about the first entries. I know some of these had sequels, but this is the first one, right? 1.5 million for Final Fantasy 13, and then look, we're already down to Final Fantasy 15, 716,000, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, 702,000, and then Final Fantasy 16, 336,000. So, you know, it's it's a, you know, Final Fantasy is falling pretty far in Japan, unfortunately. So this is what people are referring to when we're talking about Final Fantasy in Japan and it not doing so well. So this isn't, you know, this is not, Square Enix wants to be seeing this 2 million. That's what they want to be seeing, but that's not happening. That's what they want to be seeing. Now, I think there's a conversation to be had about why this has happened. I think that's a conversation that can be had. Like, why has Final Fantasy just dropped off like this? That even if you add digital sales into this, right? I know, you know, it's digital. Even when you add digital, it doesn't get you to 1 million. So, what has happened between, you know, Final Fantasy 8 and 16? What has happened? That's definitely a conversation we can have. I don't know why Vinnie Mac is in the pre-show room by himself. What's he doing? Johannes said the bundle needed a spoon, like Tears of the Kingdom. You know, I don't know. Amazon might have done some sort of bonus like that for Final Fantasy 16. I didn't check. Maybe they had something. Oh no, they did. They had like a. Oh my god, it was so dumb. Do you know what I remember what it is now. It was a PC wallpaper. It was like an extra 900 yen to get a PC wallpaper. I'm like, why would you pay extra 900 yen for just a PC wallpaper? But that SKU did sell, so somebody was buying that. It was 900 or 1,000 yen or something, which is a lot for a goddamn PC wallpaper that should be free. It should be free, but they were charging for it. So yeah, let's finish off talking about these hardware sales. Okay, so I've missed a few of these. Jago, I'm not talking about goddamn Kirby Wii Deluxe anymore. That conversation's ended. Right. Patrick Adams says, "Oh man, this is." See, Patrick, how can you say stuff like this that I'm about to read off and say that you are not a Bandai Namco mega fan? This is what I don't understand, Patrick Adams. This is what. You understand why I said that now? Oh man, this was my mission. Talk to Lord Harada and or any of the Seiyu and stuff related to the Idol Master. In regards to PlayStation abandoning Japan, Jim Ryan, and porting past games to the Switch. Okay, so you're a Bandai Namco mega fan, Patrick. Are you really not? You really? Patrick Anders, you can come on if you are not busy, feel free to come onto the show. The Discord, the link is in the chat. Stream now to drop the link, so you can. Oh no, wait, you're already in the Discord. Never mind, you're already in the Discord. Just jump into the waiting room. Adagium says that was strange. Everyone believed that Final Fantasy 16 in Japan would be a system seller. Yeah, not as much. Yeah, that doesn't seem to. I mean, I expected 100,000. Even with my low expectations, I thought 100,000 was reasonable. So yeah, I was genuinely surprised, actually. Yes. Adagium also says, like Zelda do, I bought a second Switch only for the Zelda Special Edition. Yeah, I think special editions do incentivize people to go and buy, even if they have a system, to go and buy another system, because people just like the designs and they're collector's items, right, as well. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like it was a missed opportunity to not have the plates and the controller with the game in a that would have been a really desirable bundle, and I honestly think several thousand people would have gone out and bought it, and you might have got the extra 15,000 or something, but you know, they didn't do that. So oh my god, sorry, Adagium, ha ha ha, 1-2 switch. Well, you know, we can laugh at 1-2 switch all day. I'll do that. I call it 1-2 L actually. Haha, a PC wallpaper irony was high. Yeah, the PC oh yeah, because there's no PC. Yeah, wait. The PC no PC release. Yeah, I know. I did think that as well, to be honest with you. I did think that. Oh no, you was laughing at what a Dank Meme Center said about the anticipation of 1-2 Switch. Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. Some people were saying it was the Direct that the people ran out. But I'm like, okay, even if it was a Direct, those games are not coming out for months. So are people running out and buying Switches now for games that are not out for months? Patrick Adams says, they need to know what's going on, Jodie. To give context, Jodie, I've been keeping an eye on Jim Rice's latest scrubs on Nitter, which is a Twitter alternative front end focused on what? Focused on piracy? Hang on, send me a link to whatever that is. That sounds wild. What? Send me a link to that. Is that something you have to put on your computer that changes the Twitter front end? Send me a link to that. Yes, and the release of the controller to the people outside of yeah, that's the other thing. They made all that stuff exclusive to Japan, which I complained about at the time. I was like, this is BS. How can you not really? Anyway, that's another thing. And I said, I'm telling you, that is Square Enix made the decision to only release it in Japan. They wanted something special for Japan, you know. But I think if they wanted to incentivize people in Japan for the game to sell more, then I think having those in a bundle with a system with the game would have been, you know, it would have been, so yeah, it was expensive, but I think there would have been people that would have paid for that. You know, you can do like the regular price of the system and make it maybe an extra 50, you know, equivalent to $50 US, an extra, you know, 5,000 yen, 50, how many? Make it an extra 5,000 yen or something, you know. They could have done that. Is 5,000 yen like $50? I can't even remember. Anyway, you know what I mean. So next with the hardware sales, let me just check, because when people go into this the Discord room, they don't. Please, if you go into the Discord room, please tell me that you've gone in there. Okay, there's no one in there yet, but Vinnie Mac is in the pre-show room. I don't know why. So if you go into the waiting room, please let me know, because sometimes I'm not looking at that screen. So the Xbox has risen from the dead and sold 8.7 thousand this week, which is down from last week, which was miraculous that it was even selling that much, right? So it's 8.7 thousand. If we look at the breakdown this time, I didn't do the breakdown for the 2 ones, did I? I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's almost all Series S's this time, whereas last week you can see it was like 50-50 Series X and S. So I'm not sure what happened here. Like, why, you know, did they just stop sending Series X's, or I don't know, man. It's just it's just weirder and weirder every time. I don't know why you would have 6,000 Series X's last week and now they're gone. Now apparently there's a promotion for the Series S where certain stores you can get like 4,000 yen off or something like that. So I can understand why the Series S would increase, but then would that really make the Series X drop off like by 6,000 units? I don't know, man. But that is what we have from Famitsu. So and the PlayStation 4 increased, like you know, this almost doubled, and I kind of joked that like, oh, I think some people bought PlayStation 4 because of Final Fantasy 16. You know, not realizing that it's not on the PlayStation 4 because the PlayStation 4 sales doubled. I don't know. I'm kind of half joking there. There's some people, but there were definitely people in Japan that didn't know it was not on the PlayStation 4, because I saw multiple tweets like that. People saying, "Oh, it's only PlayStation 5? I didn't know that." Like, I'm like, how would they not know? But then I guess not everybody is like us that's like looking at video game news and stuff all the time. And if you don't see like certain adverts and stuff like that, then maybe you just wouldn't know that it's not on. They would assume, I guess they just assumed it's on the PlayStation 4, right? Because you know, the last 2 Final Fantasy games, mainline games, were on the PlayStation 4. So why wouldn't that one be? But yeah, so some people didn't know, apparently. So maybe they did. I don't know. I'm kind of half joking. But now we're done with the hardware sales. So I'm opening up the discussion to everybody to hop in, if you're able to and willing. Go to our Discord and go into the waiting room. You can hang out in the waiting room, and then I'll bring you into the on-air room when we're ready to talk. Jago says I didn't mention Kirby. You haven't mentioned Kirby for the past 10 minutes, but it's like, literally before that you wouldn't stop talking about Kirby. So I don't know, Jago. Yeah, for the past 10 minutes you haven't, but you did before. I'm playing Final Fantasy. Fantastic. Have fun. I need to get into Final Fantasy. I haven't played that. I just haven't had time yet. Yeah. So what we've got to talk about this week, I feel like we can have a discussion and go into the Final Fantasy 16 sales, but we also have the Nintendo Investors Q&A, right? So this happens was it last week or the week before? It takes a little while for us to get the official English translation, because you get the Japanese things first, and then people kind of, you know, all sorts of wild stuff happens because they're just, you know, using Google Translate or whatever. So it's always best to wait for the, you know, official English translation from Nintendo. So this is it right here. I'm going to make it much larger so we can see. There were a couple. Some of the questions are kind of wild, and we're gonna get into that. So, but anyway, in terms of the show, anyone feel free to jump in and at any point, and we'll talk about this. How long have I been live? About an hour. So we're right on track, actually. We're right on track. Okay, so Adakium says yes, and release the control to people outside of Japan. Xbox is doomed in Japan. It's so low. Yeah, I mean, I mean, Xbox has always been like that in Japan. It's, you know, it's just they're not. If they wanted it to be big in Japan, they'd have to do certain things. They think that, oh well, we've got Persona games on Xbox now, so yeah, people are gonna go and buy an Xbox or sign up to. Yeah, he's in the pre-show room. That's not the waiting room. He's in the pre-show room. Unless he wants to come into the waiting room. I don't know why he's in there. Maybe he just stepped away from his computer or something and just left in there. But that's the pre-show room that he's in. I'm not sure that he wants to come onto the show today. Yeah, because he didn't leave it from earlier, or maybe he doesn't realise he's in the wrong room, or maybe he just stepped away. Like I said, he could have just gone and done something and just left his computer on like that. So I actually don't know. But yeah, he's in the pre-show room. But if Mac, if you want to talk, feel free to come into the waiting room. I don't want to just move him and assume that he wants to talk, because he could just be busy, right? So, but anyone else, feel free to come into the waiting room. Patrick Adams says, Nitter is basically Twitter, but with the search function actually working, and you can even view public users and tweets unlike Twitter. Nowadays, Twitter requires you to log in to browse anything. I know it does. I know. Dank says, yeah, Google Translate B1 for the Q. I know it does. Was Koizumi response about developers transcribed with the right connotation? What did Koizumi say? I didn't see that. Okay, I'll just take a look at it right now and we can see. So if you look on the screen, I have the PDF open. I'm going to turn down this music because this is loud in my ears. So if it's been overpowered, I'm really sorry if it's been overpowering loud for everybody. I like to have it really low in the background, so it may, I'm probably going to, sometimes I listen back to the stream and I'm like, oh my god, the music's too loud, oh my god, my voice is too loud, oh my god, my voice is too low. I listen back to it and I'm like, oh, I'm messed up. So I'm sorry if you listen to the VOD and it's like really low, but I prefer to have it like very low. So we could turn that music down. Is it on loop? Okay, I'll do loop. So, right. This doesn't sound anything like Kirby, by the way, but anyway. Let's get on to where's it gone now? The PDF. Where PDF? Oh my god. Okay, right here. It's got a little Mario on the tab. Right. So this is the 83rd annual general meeting of shareholders. So Nintendo's an old ass company, right? So they are even older than, it says 83, but they're like 130 years the company's been around. Okay. So first question. We might as well go through, I'll try and go through most of them. We've got a little bit of time. It's inconvenient for games to become unusable when you transition from one game system to the next, like Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. I'd like to know your thoughts about making digital games purchased for Nintendo Switch available on the next generation console. Shintaro Furukawa. Okay, so this is the president. Now they're talking about backwards compatibility, which the Switch does not have with the Wii U, but the Wii U had with the Wii, and the Wii had with the GameCube, and every single handheld had backwards compatibility as well. So out of the recent consoles, only the Switch didn't. Mainly because the Wii U used discs, and you can't really use those with the Switch, which, you know, it's cartridges. But anyway, this is what Furukawa has to say. Nintendo always looks at future hardware specifications from various angles, but I'd like to refrain from making any specific comments about future hardware at this time. Nintendo software is marketed in various forms. In addition to physical software sold on game cards in stores, we sell digital software, including downloadable versions of packaged software and download-only software. In the case of Nintendo Switch, many customers play downloadable software and download-only software, and the proportion of digital sales is higher compared to previous generations of game systems. We aim to continue to offer unique entertainment via our integrated hardware-software dedicated video game platform model, and I believe you can look forward to that. So that is his answer. That is basically, we're not giving you an answer. This is his answer. You know, and that, yeah, we sell digital games is his answer to that, which is a non-answer. The thing is with these investor questions, most of the answers are non-answers. You know, they do answer it, but then, you know, he basically said, well, we can't say anything. And then went on to say a whole load of waffle. So, you can understand, because they're always, you know, this is not even just Nintendo, they're all like this, where they're like secretive about the next hardware until they kind of announce it and stuff like that. So, yeah. I think it will just be backwards compatible just because of the stuff they've said about carrying stuff over and the Nintendo account system continuing and stuff like that, which is like, why would you have that account system continuing, but you wouldn't be able to continue any of your digital stuff, right? And, you know, will the Switch successor be able to take a physical Switch game? You know, the game card. They call. They call them game. They've always been called game cards since at least the DS. They've always called. They actually. I know everyone calls them a cartridge. But they're not technically. They're not cartridges. You know, they're cards. So they always call them game cards. But anyway, we say cartridges, but it's the same thing. So that's the question. How many questions are there? There's multiple pages of this, so we'll see. Question 2. A campaign celebrating the 40th anniversary of the family computer Famicom was announced during the Nintendo. Obviously, this was in the Japan Nintendo Direct. Not in the one that we saw, not in the international one, but in the Japan one, they had something about the 40th anniversary of the Famicom, because by the time it was a Nintendo Entertainment System, but it released like years later after the Famicom. So The Famicom is 40 years old now, is what they're saying. My father plays Famicom, and I play Nintendo Switch. Nintendo is beloved by people across generations and borders, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this strength. So this is a pretty general question. So let's see this. Sorry, I have to have a drink. Okay, so Furukawa. This year will mark the 40th anniversary of the launch of Famicom in Japan. Looking back, I was in the 6th grade when Famicom was released. Over the years, parents, grandparents and grandparents have played games on Nintendo video game platforms and with their children and grandchildren, and that kind of fun shared across multi-generations can be seen all over the world. We recognise that this has become a major strength for Nintendo over the years of our dedicated video game platform business. The value of the Nintendo brand today stems from so many people playing our games for so long and their nurturing of many Nintendo characters and other Nintendo IP. We strive to ensure that people worldwide will enjoy our video game platforms for years to come by continuing to provide unique offerings. So because it was like a kind of a general question about Nintendo systems across the years and generations, he kind of gave like a general answer about that. Now there was a Famicom for artwork. If I can find it, it was actually pretty good. There was some artwork that they released. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Famicom 40th anniversary. There was something that was oh yeah, there's this. Oh wait, that's a video. Yeah, so this is the piece of it comes up really small though. Why is it small? This is a Famicom. Oh my god, can I make it bigger? Is that possible? Hang on. How about if I open a new tab? Is it bigger? It's still small. It's small. Hang on. Here we go. Okay. So this is the artwork. And I'll describe it a bit for people that are not looking at the screen. So it's a Famicom 40th anniversary, and everything's drawn in 8-bit art. Like in the center is an 8-bit rendition of a Famicom, and it says Famicom in katakana, and then 40th anniversary, and we can see the Famicom and the controllers, and then around the Famicom 8-bit artwork is like representatives from like pretty much every major franchise that was on the Famicom. So there's both Nintendo and third-party characters here. Now I'm gonna talk about the ones I recognize, alright? So we have Kirby, Twinbee, that's Ninja Gaiden maybe, this ninja climbing up the wall, Mega Man, Mario, Kunio-kun, the Black Mage from Final Fantasy, Bomberman. I have no idea who this person is. Oh no, this has got to be Fire Emblem, right? This character here, this blue character we saw, this is Fire Emblem. Someone let me know. We've got a Ghost from Pac-Man. We've got Donkey Kong. We've got, I don't know what this character is here. Just a guy. Oh, it's Marth from Fire Emblem. Thank you. Now, what is this character like? It looks like a ninja on top of a frog. I don't know what that is. There's a car. Don't know what that is. There's people on horses. 2 people on horses. No idea what that's from. There's Samus from Metroid. Link. I don't know what this one here is. This someone let me know. We got just a character with baseball. Maybe it's one of the baseball games that's on there. I believe this has got to be Metal Gear Solid. Oh no, not Metal Gear. It's just Metal Gear. Is this Metal Gear? In the corner? What, this side? I have no idea. What is this? We've got a very large slime from Dragon Quest. We've got Luigi. Who's this here? This person in with a hat on. I have no idea what that character is. There's like a mouse. I don't know what that character is. We've got a bike from Excite Bike. We have... I don't know what this spaceship is. Someone tell me what that is. We have like a devil looking thing jumping. I don't know what that is. We've got a guy holding a stick. I don't know what franchise that is. Now this is Dig Dug. I know that one. That's Dig Dug. Right? This here. And then we have Castlevania. This will be... Who's the main character? Simon Belmont or whoever this is. Castlevania. There's a spaceship that I don't know what this is. Or some sort of craft. I don't know what it is. Bomberman, we did that one. We have what's the character from Mother? God, whatever. What's the main character from Mother or Earthbound or whatever? You know, Ness. Okay, that's Ness. And then we have Pit from Kid Icarus. So there's a few here that I don't know. So Jago, do you know what some of your Kid Icarus? What about these ones that I said I don't know? Like this, what is this like guy holding like a cane or a stick or something? That's next to Dig Dug. Mappy? I've never heard of that. And what's this mouse here? There's like a little mouse holding something. I think the gargoyle thing is from a beat 'em up. The gargoyle thing. Okay, this thing here, the red one. Yeah, so I recognise a lot of them, but then some of them I just don't know what they are. Maybe it's Double Dragon. Oh, okay. What's the not that one. That's not Double Dragon. The mouse is Mappy. Okay, the mouse is Mappy. Of course, Mousy knows what the mouse is. The mouse is Mappy. Yeah, Ness is from Mother. No, this is Famicom. This is Famicom. So this is from Mother 1. This is Ness from Mother 1. Okay, so none of you know what these other characters are. This character wearing like cargo, not cargo. I'm thinking like explorer stuff. They're an explorer with a hat on. What's that character? I think the cars are from Cruising Blast. Oh, okay. Where's the car? Oh, at the bottom here. Oh, okay, that's Cruising Blast. Okay. I know my mice! Have you seen An American Tail? Five, do you remember that? Five. Ninten. Oh, okay. So the original character was called Ninten. Thank you. Okay, that's straight. They call them Ninten. Okay, so that's the original character. Okay, thank you for the correction, Giannis. Okay, so nobody knows what this ninja on the frog is. And this kind of just guy that looks like he's... Maybe, is that from Punch Out? This character here? That looks like the wrestler or something? Or boxer? Is that from Punch Out? There are no cats in America. What? What wasn't it? Hang on, no. What are you talking about, Mousy? There was An American Tail. There was cats in that film. Okay, Mappy is an action game by Namco. I'm surprised Patrick didn't jump in here to tell me. But no, Patrick didn't, because Patrick's not a Bandai Namco mega fan. I forgot. Okay. Avoid getting caught by Nyamco and Meowkeys. That sounds funny. Okay, but you don't know these other ones. You don't know what they are. So I know what like the song from. No, we're not playing songs from whatever that is. What is it? The song's funny. Oh, okay, sorry, I missed some of your comments here. Mega Man, you know what? It's already July in Japan already. That's true. That's true. Simon Belmont. Patrick says, I always thought the Famicom and Super Famicom controllers look better than their North American counterparts. I have Super Famicom Nintendo Switch online controller and it's a colourful beauty. Well, here's the thing. I didn't know that the Super or Super Famicom, whatever. I didn't know that the American one looked different from the one because in Europe, the one that we had, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, it looks the same as the Japanese one basically, and it's like rounded with like colourful buttons on the controller. It's a rounded one, but then when I saw the North American one, it's like square. It's like a more square shape, and it had the buttons on the controller are purple. I don't know why, and I had no idea until like a few years ago. I literally didn't know that. Mouse is okay, I'll pop in the waiting room. Oh, awesome. Let's bring Mousy in. Mousy, yeah, the American is ugly. I had no idea it looked like that, and I had no idea it was even different until like I was like, what? Hang on, what? Theirs looked like that? Yeah, it looked completely different, but it was different in North America, but I don't know why. Basically, you got the name change over there and kept the same console. Yeah, it looked the same as the Super Famicom. I don't know why the American one's like kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie, it is actually ugly. Mousy, can you hear me? Or maybe, hang on. Mousy's, I can't hear Mousy if she's talking. And your thing isn't lighting up, so I'm guessing you're not ready. So let's just wait for Mousy to get ready. Yeah, if anyone knows any of these other characters that I missed out on, let me know. I can't recognise every single one, unfortunately. Most of them I know, but yeah, some of them I don't know. But anyway, these are like just representing all the different franchises that were on Famicom. I don't know if there's like a high def version of this, because I've just blown this one up, and you know, maybe there is like a high def one, but this wouldn't really work as a wallpaper because it's just kind of like pretty low definition. There might be a high definition version of it. Oh look, they've got the thing on here as well. So yeah, this is what the question was referring to. Here's a list of, oh, thank you for the link, Patrick. I'll check that out after the show. Oh, that's what you're saying. But you got a physical copy of Celeste? Oh, nice. A physical copy of Celeste. It's fixed. Okay, your audio was messed up. Okay, let me bring you back in. Yeah. Are you there, Mousy? Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Say something again?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, but your audio is always very low. Yeah. I've got you up like at super high, on like highest I can have you on boosting you on Discord. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn down this music so I can hear you in my head.
Okay.
How you doing, Mousy?
I'm good.
You're tired.
Yeah, no. At the beginning of American Tale, that they sing, you were asking if I knew it, and I'm like, they sing There Are No Cats in America.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that film, like, literally probably since I was an actual child, so I don't remember that. But I remember the film, like, being all mice. That's why I brought it up. So, do you remember, there was the films, there was more than one film, but there was also, I'm sure there was a series as well.
I don't know about the series, but the other film is Feifel Goes West.
Oh yeah, that's it. Feifel Goes West. Yeah.
But no, yeah, obviously I like mice, yes. But I haven't seen it since a child either. I don't remember any of the other songs besides that one, just because it's hilarious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I'll have to go back and watch it. But I haven't. So many movies I haven't seen for so long. Patrick Adams says the ninja on the frog is Ninja Jarumaru-kun. Ah, okay. I've never heard of that character. There we go.
I don't think that series came west.
Oh, okay. So that's why. I see. Right.
Yeah, a couple of these, I think the series, like, I think it got a, like, Mother franchise. that kind of stuff, you're missing like key characters because some of this didn't always go west. But
oh, the red ninja is Goemon. I didn't realize that was Goemon. Is that who it is? The red character, the red ninja on top. Oh, that's Goemon from Gunbai Goemon. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I do know what that is. I didn't realize that's. I've never seen what the Famicom version looks like. So, oh, okay. Thanks for that, Johannes.
I hadn't seen it, but when you told me about it the other day in the Discord, I looked it up, and that's where I saw it. But I forgot the name of it, but I knew it was the one that you were talking about, the successor one. I'm like, the successor to what?
Oh, yeah, so we was talking about that. It was a spiritual successor to Goemon, and I forgot what it's called now. But I think it's from the people that made those games. And yeah, you said, what is that? And so I just Googled it, and I mean, I'm aware of the franchise, but you know, I'm not like, I haven't played them, so I'm not overly familiar with it. But I do know of it, and I didn't realize it like started on the Famicom actually. But yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, most of these started on the Famicom.
Yeah. Well, the ones in the picture did, yeah. But sometimes you don't realize some franchises are so old. And you're like, oh wow, okay, that's been around for like decades, you know. So
you know, that happens too, and you find out like that you have a franchise that you never thought like somebody owned it, and you're like, oh my god, and they've had it for years, and you're like, really?
yeah.
Have you talked about the FTC stuff yet?
I have not, because I was like talking about the sorry, I was just trying to if you can't hear me, I was just doing something. So I'm like, oh, if it's getting cold, I'm gonna have to put this heater on in here, in my room. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get too cold in the corner. Believe it or not, like you can probably hear the winds blowing, and it's like really cold. Anyway, yes, I haven't talked about that yet because we were talking. Well, I just started talking about the Nintendo Investors Q&A. But if you'd like to talk about the FTC and everything, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to explain to you like what they're doing, and then maybe give some clarity, because I know that there's a lot of listeners that aren't from the States. So basically, what the FTC does is different than the CMA. The CMA can outright block a merger. The FTC can't outright block it themselves. So what Microsoft and Activision are trying to do is still go on with the merger, at least that in planning stages. So what the FTC did was first they filed a temporary injunction, which that's super easy to grant. Now they're trying to get a preliminary injunction, which what that would do was to stop Microsoft and Activision from merging right this second. But it doesn't actually kill the deal, because both the FTC and Microsoft still have to go to court again if the judge does rule for the temporary injunction. So we might get another dirty laundry, even bigger lawsuit, depending. And that's the key word here, depending. So that's why it was confusing, because you're like, isn't this the lawsuit? It's because typically in the States, the FTC doesn't really have the same powers that the CMA does. So that's what the difference in the two different. Does that make sense?
Oh, right, yeah, okay. So no, I actually was not aware of that. So they just have a completely different role and completely different powers. So okay, so this is for an injunction, you said.
Yeah, so they can't outright, the FTC can't outright block a deal on their own. There are things that they can stipulate, but they have to get in. They have their own judges, by the way, but they do have to get legal proceedings involved in some form or fashion. So while they did block the deal, they didn't actually block it through legal means. So technically, right now, before they filed the temporary injunction, the Activision and Microsoft could have merged, but obviously they didn't, because they're dealing with the CMA, and the CMA had blocked the deal. So that would prevent them. So what this injunction would do, which technically the burden on the FTC is only to say that there are more questions,
right?
Not that they have to prove that it's definitely a monopoly or not. They just have to have, hey, we have some concerns.
Oh, okay.
So they don't really have a big burden of proof for an injunction. They just have to have some proof of an injunction.
Right.
The real burden is going to be, I think the lawsuit is initially scheduled for August, and that's with their lawyer, their judge.
The FTC's judge.
Correct, but they could still lose to their own judge because they lost to Meta with their own judge.
Oh,
So-
right. Yes.
Because they don't actually have the same kind of power that the CMA does, basically. And I think that's different because you guys from the UK, the CMA can outright block and just be, you're done. And then you have to, like they're getting the the tribunal involved, and I don't know how successful those obviously haven't super been in the past. But
Oops. Yeah.
regardless, that's why it's different, because the CMA can't outright block stuff. So like when Meta was trying to buy Jiffy, whatever.
Yeah.
So the CMA was able to completely block that outright, and then Meta decided they didn't want to go through the trouble of, because it's very difficult in the UK. The process is vastly different, and it's very difficult on that particular front. That said, I don't know, with cloud being the concern, if this injunction doesn't go through,
Right.
if it, I can't speak to that. So, but I just wanted to give a different perspective so that, the people not in here like, why are we having 2 trials or 3 trials? Like,
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, I thank you for that, Mousy, because I didn't even know that stuff. Because I'll be honest, I haven't been following this like that closely. I mean, I've seen just like the headlines. Oh, Microsoft said this, Sony said that, the FTC said this. I've been seeing that, but I haven't been following it super closely to know the details that you have just mentioned. It's kind of like this has been going on for so long. It's just it's hard to care about it that much. It's more like.
It's only till this trial that I really care, because this is the dirty laundry comes out, and then that's where I'm like, oh yeah, I love lawsuits.
So there was like dirty laundry, and actually some interesting tidbits that we learned that weren't like, they're bringing this certain stuff up in the court that might not seem like super important to them, but it's because it's something we didn't know, that was just like information that was just like behind closed doors. That's information we didn't have access to. So we now we got this access to some certain, only small bits of information. It kind of helps to like inform a picture we have about the gaming business. One very interesting part of information we got accidentally when Sony did not like redact their documents well enough, or what. Basically, I think they printed them out and they used a physical like marker pen to just go over it, and then when that was then scanned, they must have they must have scanned it. You could just see straight through it, and you could see we've got the budget revealed for like Horizon Forbidden West, I think, and maybe The Last of Us Part 2. And they were like $200 million, right? It was like before the marketing, because it mentions marketing after that. They probably use a Sharpie marker. Yeah, Johannes, this is what I'm thinking, like something like that. And they just, which if you just have it on paper like that, then you can't see it. Jago says Last of Us 2 was $220 million, and I think Forbidden West, it was 212. So they are both well over $200, and I've $200 million, sorry, 200. And I think before now we were like, okay, they're definitely $100 million plus, but we didn't know, like, I don't think people knew $200 million. So that really puts into perspective, like, these development costs have absolutely just ballooned out of hand, in my opinion. That's just absolutely wild. What do you think about that, Mousy?
Right. Yeah, well, and if one of them failed, it's not that much of a, like, I mean, because, like, one of the threads, I have no idea what form it was, like, people were saying, oh, well, obviously Sony can't absorb it, and I'm like, well, technically, even though...
Sorry, can't afford what? Your audio kind of, like, It's dropping low at certain points.
Yeah, so what I was saying was that the thread was saying, like Sony can't afford to lose one, and I'm like, and they're like, well, because Microsoft is attached to, a $1 trillion company, they can.
Right.
I'm like, not really. They tore apart 343. Like,
Yeah.
just because these companies are bigger, like, no one can afford with budgets that big to lose.
Waste money. Yeah, I agree, Mousy. Like, even though obviously Microsoft is a $1 trillion plus or $2 trillion company, but it doesn't mean they just want to just lose money and just throw money down the toilet. So yeah, they fired the whole. I mean, it wasn't just in the Xbox division. It was like across the whole of Microsoft. Right, they let loads of employees go. It's like, yeah, a business doesn't want to waste money, So yeah, so it doesn't mean they're gonna just throw. Because it always seems that people kind of phrase it like, oh well, they can just throw money, they can just throw this money around and just. No, they don't have unlimited budgets. They still have to work to budgets in Microsoft,
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like it was all over, but I mean, like they completely changed like the way that game was supposed to be, and it's like, so no, they can't afford it either. Like they really can't afford when you have that sort of like, and I think that's partially too why like Redfall, they didn't like cancel it, but they also didn't like delay it or anything, because like they didn't want to balloon the budget any more than they already had. So it's like recoup what we can and move on, and then and it ultimately didn't hurt them, because the placement that they had that game, like you had Zelda, which kind of took it out of there, and then you had their showcase, so it's like nobody's really talking about that game anymore, so now it died. So I mean it's, the logic of it works.
What's that, Redfall? Are you referring to that died?
Yeah, I'm saying the game died, but I'm saying the conversation of the game basically died, because there's so much else that happened.
No one's talking about that anymore. No.
Yeah, and that was a plan, but it's like I don't think they wanted to delay it anymore, and they don't want to go back and scrap it and change it, because that's just more of a budget that they would have had to do to fix it. To fix it. I mean, so it's like these budgets are so huge that you end up left with these points of what do we do? It's like Cyberpunk's another one where it's like, I honestly think at this point, like the investors, people were like, we just need to release this so we can get some funds back into this game. And do repair work to it. It's like, it's just incredible how much the budgets have like ballooned for some of these games, and I mean, obviously we don't have that with like Nintendo. Like they have one really big game, and then they have all these different level tiered games, so they're fairly.
Kirby's beta,
yeah, they're very I guess they say that they're independent, like they're the whole chain of system doesn't, it works and it just flows, and it's got to flow. But the case has been good about that. It was really interesting on the Call of Duty numbers to see just how much, like I said, Americans play way too much Call of Duty.
Yes.
That's a fact.
All those people that play, like they said that 1 million people in the States that only play COD on PlayStation and no other games. They only play COD. 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild.
6 million, 70% of their time is dedicated to COD.
Yeah, even that's wild. So, COD is big.
Really big. And then they had another really interesting tidbit was the conversation around Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I just want to talk about that a little bit, and I do have, like, I did bookmark a thread about it, but the thing is like because I hadn't read through the whole thread, I wasn't sure. You have to read above to see what's being referred to in the one you're looking at, so I didn't want to not have the correct information. But basically the reason why Nintendo is coming up and why they're arguing about Nintendo is because they are it's because I know Sony that was trying to argue that there was I don't know if this isn't Sony, but this is FTC in this case, where they're trying to argue whether Nintendo is or isn't in the same market as Xbox and PlayStation.
Correct. And actually, during Jim Ryan's testimony, I think and I'm going, I think, because again, these are long Twitter threads that I would like to go back and hope somebody compiles to where you can read them all exactly. But they had said that they didn't view Nintendo as a competitor because Nintendo players only play Mario and Zelda. But then they did have some documentation that they asked Ryan or somebody from Sony to clarify, where Sony lists on some filing that Nintendo was a competitor to them. And so Dr. Bailey, who's the Microsoft expert, but she had noticed that when the Switch started to pick up steam, the other two console manufacturers, and she was going by like time people spent on the system.
Yeah.
The other two lost players to people playing on Switch.
Yeah, so there's a client. So I have a summary of that from Derek Strickland. Says, I saw a fall. You can see the decline in the number of gamers on Xbox console and the decline of gamers on PlayStation. And for those gamers that stayed, how the game time hours changed. You can see a decline there, both on Xbox and PlayStation. So it's like, basically, yeah. So I have this right here. So there was a change because people at the end of the day only have so much time, right? So then if Nintendo is not in the same market, it's in some, well, that's the other thing. It's like, well, what market is it in then? Because you can't say, well, it's in a mobile phone market. It's just not a mobile. It's portable, but it's not like, it's a dedicated video game console. You can pretty much only play video games on it. There's a few apps and things, but it's mainly only video games. So it's like, if they're not in that market, then they are in a completely separate market all by themselves that they are have a monopoly in. Then if they literally have a monopoly. But anyway, regardless, we don't know what market that is, but they're saying that they saw a decline when Switch entered the market, and so this, you're saying this is Dr. Bailey or Bailey? Okay, so Bailey continues, this is what I would expect to see if there were a substitution. If gamers on Xbox and PlayStation thought Switch was a substitution, this is what I found. So yeah, so it's like substituting your time for some another console or something, right? Corley's the judge, right? You looked at data for 10 weeks. Did that same decline then exist for the past 10 weeks? Answer, I did not look past 10 weeks. The longer we go out, the more events that start to come in, the harder it is to control for what is happening. Corley, the opinion you draw is that at least when it came out, consumers played on it and purchased it. Yeah, answer, not only did they do that, more specifically, Xbox and PlayStation gamers switched. No, but I don't know if the pun is intended or not, but anyway, they switched their behaviour for at least that 10-week period. As an economist, it is informative for substitution. So then Derek Strickland's put in brackets, I guess it's his comments, Switch is definitely a competitor. So, yeah, so it's pretty interesting there. They go on to talk about like cross-platform games. There's games that are cross-platform with Switch and PlayStation and so on. And yeah, so Switch is not. I guess when they say the 10 weeks, they mean the launch of the Switch, right? But they didn't look much past that because it's harder to control for other factors. But yeah, so. Basically, yeah, I think that's something that's important to note, is that like you're competing for the time of gamers that only have so much time, and usually I only have so much money as well. So yeah, so this is like really interesting. This is not. I mean, this is stuff that we kind of suspected, but we didn't have it like in concrete. Black and white world, this is what happened. So it's really interesting to get that perspective and that information.
Well, and she also, I think it was her, but one of them had the Rise, and it's like, um, they were talking about. I know this is a hard to quantify number, but like, Switch exclusives, and Switch actually had the most exclusives, which not all of them are truly exclusive in the sense that, and that's why I bring this up, in the sense that Nintendo paid for them, but the fact that, we are seeing of like people who are just making, in Japan, which does affect the U.S. market, they make games just for Switch, right?
Well, yeah, de facto exclusives, yeah. So, like, seen a lot of the visual novels and stuff do that type of thing.
Right, and you do see that. So, I mean, I thought that was interesting too, and it's interesting that you bring up the part about you can't do anything else on the Switch, because the judge at some point actually pointed this out to the FTC that she considers consoles, because they were trying to say, she was talking about PCs, and she's like, well, I do get the expensive PC, but you do so many other things with the PC, so, but she definitely, for her mind, at least in the question that she asked the FTC, like, she did bring up the fact that consoles only are there to play video games.
Basically. They can't do, you can do a few other things, like, even on, like, current, like, my PlayStation 5, it doesn't have well, at least a front end. I know there's like some back end way you can get to it, but there's no like front like browser. There's no. The older consoles used to have browsers on them. The Vita had a browser and so on, but there's no like browser that you can just access from the menu in on PlayStation 5. There's applications and stuff you have on there like Netflix and Disney Plus and so on, so you can do that sort of stuff. But like the sort of stuff you can do on a mobile phone, tablet, or PC, just browsing the internet, you can't do that on a PlayStation 5.
Right. And you're not going to buy a PlayStation 5 for anything else but to play video games on. That's its primary function and purpose.
I mean, some people might buy it for the Blu-ray player, but I mean, I think most people would buy a Blu-ray player. That's a separate one.
Yeah, it's not like the PS3 era where, like, there were people that were buying the PlayStation 3 and, when it got cheap enough, in lieu of a Blu-ray player, because Sony was updating the PlayStation 3, so you knew your Blu-ray player. But back then, not every video that came in on Blu-ray worked with every Blu-ray player.
Right. Was formats were slightly different back then?
No. So what happened during the beginning was you had a war between Blu-ray and
the HD. Yeah, I remember that, the HD DVDs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so the Blu-ray players initially weren't, they didn't have the compatibility for all the Blu-rays. So sometimes you would have to go, and this is actually how I bricked our Blu-ray player.
Oh my god, you bricked your Blu-ray player? Oh no.
Well, yeah. So they told me to update it, but when I updated it and they pushed the update unfortunately, and it's from the manufacturer's website, it bricked the Blu-ray player, and their only explanation was, I guess you gotta go buy another one, and I'm like, no.
But that's their fault, isn't it? If it bricked it, isn't it their fault that that's their software update?
It was out of warranty, but they pushed the update.
Okay.
Well, the Blu-ray player was 2 years, and they pushed the update out that month. So I'm like, but you just push the update out. Like, how is that? But anyways, to get to the point is, you used to have to like update it with the Blu-ray information for all the new Blu-rays as they were evolving, right? And so that was the good thing about the Sony PlayStation 3, that when they finally got down to cheaper amounts,
right?
It was constantly being updated on the back end because it had Wi-Fi. So a lot of people in the States, when it got cheap enough, this obviously is the beginning, but towards the end, would just buy a PS3 for a Blu-ray player because of the games, and B, it was constantly updating, so you didn't have to, like, because some of them you couldn't update, and you'd have to go buy a new Blu-ray player.
I see, right, yeah. So once they bought the, and they had that, like, eventually there was a super slim.
Yes, that was much cheaper, and that brought all the costs down. I think that was the only one that really kept its cost at the time. But to get back to that's why, like I'm saying, like, it's not like that. So yeah, the Blu-ray player is nice, but you're not buying a PS5 with Blu-ray player. You're buying a PS5 to have a PS5 and what a PS5 does.
Yeah. So yeah, you can do a few other things with a PlayStation 5, but the main function is for games, and it definitely, like, I would say, in terms of like applications and stuff, it definitely has less functionality than a smartphone. Like, you can't do stuff that you can do on a smartphone on a PlayStation 5, like with apps and everything. You can't get onto, like, for example, you know, the App Store or Google Play Store and get any of those apps or anything like that. So it's a dedicated gaming machine. I would also say a Switch is a dedicated gaming machine. Now, if you don't mind, I would get onto like a few of these. There's a few comments that are built up, so I'm gonna read off a few of these.
Let's do it.
Patrick Adams says, "Hi Mousy, I didn't know you were a girl." Yeah, Mousy's a girl. Yeah, so what I tend to do, Patrick, is I just don't assume people's gender. Where if they want to tell me what their gender is, however they define themselves, that's fine. So I normally don't gender anybody. If people want to tell me their gender, that's fine. If they want to give me a pronoun to use for them, that's fine. Otherwise, so there's people, there's like, you know, most of the people in my server, I don't actually know the gender of them. I know it's like easy to kind of like, you know, I assume, everyone assumes like people's gender like that. Like, you just kind of draw your own conclusion. And I think, like, generally on the internet, because I've had this a lot before, like, if you don't have something that's obviously feminine there, people just assume you're a guy. I don't know why. They just assume, it always happens to me. All on the internet, you just get assumed to be a guy all the time. Unless you specifically say, I'm a guy, or you have something that, like, the name sounds feminine, or even a female icon. So people, if someone who's a guy even has this female icon, people assume that they're a girl, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, like like a character or something like that, just a random character that maybe they're like Princess Peach or something. I don't know. You know, so that kind of happens as well, but I don't know unless people tell me. So I guess Mousy, you probably encountered the same thing, but you know, I didn't ask Mousy. I never asked you your gender before. I just remember one time you said, "Oh, I'm a girl." So since then I referred to you as a girl, but I didn't before that. You probably don't remember that, or didn't even know.
Oh yeah, no, and I did it in Discord too, because I was talking and I did it in Discord. I think we had a conversation. But that said, I do know, like, and it's fine. Like, some people call just normal, like in the gaming sphere, they'll just call you bro or whatever.
Yeah.
Or buddy, you know. And sometimes I'll, you know, just like be like, okay. Like, especially if they know my gender, I'm fine with it. But if they don't know my gender and they just assume, I'll be like, it's cool, but no. But yeah, I get it too, especially in the gaming sphere. But it's fine, you know.
In the gaming sphere, you get it all the time, yeah.
Which is funny, but you know, especially because you know, if you're primarily a Switch player, you really should not assume anything.
Yeah, and there's also, like, we've seen, like, time and time again, there's all this research that it's like it's at least 50%, or the average is like 50% female on every platform. So, like, to necessarily assume that somebody is a guy because they're playing games or something doesn't, to me it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it's something that I've had to contend with just on the internet in general, and then especially in talking about games, and if there's any like type of anything gaming, like where people come together or talk, you know, talking about games or anything like that, I don't find that many women there, even though we know that they play games. They're not in these like spaces and stuff. Like, when I used to do the Twitter spaces, it was like, you know, not that, to my knowledge, not that many women coming in. It was like you and a couple of other people, you know. Yeah. So there wasn't that many back when I was in the spaces. Sorry?
I still think, like, I mean, there are some more on YouTube, but in Twitter, I think it's harder to find, because there are a lot of, you know, streamers and stuff on Twitter and there. But first off, I just want to say, hi back, Patrick.
Yeah, sure. Is that it? Yeah?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I was gonna say just the streamers and stuff in the YouTubers, you do have a little bit more like at least people admitting to their gender. But I will say for me, I was really cautious. Like what made me not cautious was like in the Twitter space, and then like because you identify on your Twitter, I think you identify as female, and so it like I think there's still a lot of women that I mean the guys in our Discord are just amazing. So, y'all are wonderful. But, and I think though that there's still a little bit of like hesitation in Twitter because people are just straight up rude. And it's like, they're just going to jump on it. So it's like, I think there are more ladies. They're just not necessarily willing to admit that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, it's like I said, it's you have to kind of be a little bit careful on who you. I know it's weird if you're a guy, you probably don't think about it, but as a woman, you kind of have to be a little bit more careful who you identify to, because some people are just, I mean, and it's like I don't need that in my life, like
exactly.
Everyone on our Discord is amazing, so it's not a problem. But Twitter.
Twitter is we've discussed before. Twitter is a cesspool. I'm glad that Mazzy, you felt comfortable that you could reveal that information. For me personally, I actually didn't used to have like my pronouns or anything in my bio, and but I did used to have like just a picture of myself that I had on it. It's not there now. I changed it to Miyano from Sasaki and Miyano, right? But like I just had a picture of me. I just put it there years ago. It was the same picture. I just never changed it, so people could see, that looks like a girl. So I would be addressed like that. People don't necessarily assume that the name Jodie is feminine because it's like a unisex name. The guys can be called Jodie as well. So I think there's also that. But I did get. I don't know if you remember this, but I did used to get sexist comments as well. She doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm not going to get into the stuff now, but I did get sexist comments, and there's always this thing of like, oh, maybe I should go back to like not saying my gender, but I actually decided quite a long time, a couple of years ago, no, I'm going to put my pronouns in my bio so you can see what my pronouns are. And also it's a thing that like when people putting their pronouns in their bio is very useful, right? Because like not everybody is like cisgender and transgender people, and it's very useful to for everybody to put their what they prefer to be identified as in their bio. So I decided to do that. I did change my picture just because I got bored of it, basically, and then it was just like a cool. I follow the mangaka for Sasaki and Miyano. This is like my favorite BL, and basically they just put like they had like different pictures of the characters. So I just put Miyano there. So I just got bored of it. And I just changed it. But I'm glad you felt comfortable that you could like just be yourself in our Discord and everything. And I've already spoke about this before, I guess, but like one of my hopes was that there would be more people that I identified as female that would want to come and talk of and join our community and stuff like that. I hope that like hearing a feminine voice makes people feel comfortable, because there's just not a lot female voices talking about games in this format.
You're not afraid to get involved in some of the conversation with like the Final Fantasy stuff, and I mean, even though some people are kind of idiots about it, you're not afraid to get involved in that conversation. I think that's the thing, is like, I think sometimes you get kind of, okay, sure, you can talk about video games, but you really can't talk about meat and potato. And so the fact that you're not afraid to put yourself out there and talk on Twitter and say flamey things. I mean, they're true. They're salty, but they're true. I don't think anyone's doubting what you're saying.
Oh, they do.
I think yeah. Well, I mean, on our Discord, when I think anybody, I'm thinking of our guys, our people, like ours isn't everybody, like, I don't, specify that as any sort of ownership, just that, I think of the friendly community that we have on Discord, which is awesome. Like sometimes it gets quiet because somebody gets busy and it's like, oh man, why isn't this person talking? And it's like, it's good to have all these voices and stuff. But I think, you put yourself out there with the Twitter and you let yourself like take the heat. And I think that's a good thing because I think, it needs to be, Twitter is a cesspool and they need to have somebody who, is willing to challenge the status quo and say stuff to make them think, the Twitter in general, just to make them, think. So I think that's a great aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there are so many, and I'm not, it's just because there are, so yeah, I definitely feel comfortable, and I hope our whole community feels comfortable.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm really happy to hear that, Mousy, because it's not, as I said, I haven't spoke about it before, but that is something I was hoping. And Twitter isn't like, it's a complete cesspool over there, and like what I've tended to do now, I've just basically, if people that are not want to have a normal conversation, they want to hurl insults and stuff like that, I just put them on mute, so they're just talking into the void. I just don't see them, because I'm just like, I see like they're doing that, putting me, if they want to have if someone disagrees with me, I don't have a problem with someone disagreeing with me. So you'll see sometimes I engage with people that disagree with me, right?
Right.
And I'll have a conversation. But if you're just gonna throw things about, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just doing then I can't have a conversation with you. Which is why I said to some people, I said, do you know what? Why don't you bring your evidence that you have, and then we'll discuss it on my show. And everyone just disappeared. They just scuttled away into the shadows, because when it comes, because it's not exactly real life, over like audio format, right? It's like quote unquote face to face. They don't want to do that, because people act in a way on Twitter, and they're hiding behind that keyboard and act in a way that they just wouldn't act in real life. You just wouldn't talk to somebody like that, and they know that, so they don't have a leg to stand on. But Twitter, I am definitely less active there. Twitter is just gone downhill so much since who took it over, and it's just awful now. And I'm just having, every time I go over there, I'm just having like issues with people, and I'm like, do you know what, I literally do not have time for this. I've got more important things in my life to worry about. Twitter now, one thing I completely stopped doing, and I'm sure everyone does this, you're just scrolling idly through social media. Like, I have mostly stopped doing that now. I don't scroll. I look, what I decided to do, I did this a while ago, but I added like Gematsu onto there or whatever, right? So I just have alerts for just certain accounts, right? So if there's actual news, like actual interesting video game news, it comes up, it's in my alerts. So I'm not just scrolling through loads and loads and loads of like useless crap, right? The actual information that I want to see is there. So I have, if you want to know what I have on alert, I think it's just Gematsu. I can tell you, I can't remember what it is now. What do I have on alert? I have certain alerts. I can tell you the cat. Well, I don't know if you'll be surprised, but let's see. How do I see my alerts? Oh, here. So
are we missing the comments?
Yeah, I'm missing some comments. I have like Gematsu. Look what I have on there. I have Gematsu, Atlas account, Nintendo everything, and I think like Nintendo UK, Nintendo Europe, and the Nintendo UK store. So I don't miss out on goddamn Amiibo and stuff like that. I missed out on that Zelda keyring or whatever. Like, but even though I had it on alert, so I have just a few key things on alert, so I'm not scrolling idly, and I just get the news that I want to see, here. Like, Gematsu is one of the most useful ones to have. Mid? What's mid? You're mid, Jago. What's mid? What's he calling mid? Oh, okay, horsey. Able to chat now. Oh! Really?
Yeah.
Kike, come through.
I'm about to leave, so that's great.
Okay.
Somebody.
Well, thank you, Mousy, for joining me today, taking your time out of your day. I'm sure it's like lunchtime for you or something like that. You're on your lunch break.
I am indeed on my lunch break, so I am going to pop off and let Kike do his thing. So it's been nice and lovely, everyone. Talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, Mousy. Catch you later. Bye-bye. Let's get a few of these comments. I am way behind. I look at the Discord comments first. Oh no, wait, sorry. I'll maybe look at the YouTube comments first. So I was already doing that. What did I get to? Thank Moon Center says Layden was right about these budgets growing. Yeah, Layden was like, I remember like he said this some time ago about how big these budgets had gotten. I'm not sure if that's when he was on the What's Up PlayStation podcast, or was it before that. But yeah, he basically said this, and I was like, really? I was like, okay, I knew budgets had gone, but he said when he was describing it was like, oh, they're growing out of hand, like they're just way too big now. And yeah, so that was like a year or two ago that he said that, and yeah, he was exactly right. Yeah. Adagium says Microsoft had the money, but this already took so much time, and they literally the 2022 strategy was based on getting the merger. Oh right, so that's why they didn't really do anything in 2022, right, in terms of like releasing games and stuff. Adagium also says it's because the number and percentages changes if Nintendo is included. Oh, so like what we was talking before about people's time and stuff like that. Yes, Reggie said that the competition for Nintendo and maybe every console is time. Yeah, he did say that, yeah. Because now if you have a lot of things too, like social media and streaming platforms, yeah, because people only have so much time. Right, that's why a lot of these you've seen a lot of these live service games, recent ones, like failing and shutting down and stuff like that, because they demand so much of your time, and there's already so many of them in the market, and really big ones that are taking up a lot of people's time, that people have put hundreds, thousands of hours into, you know, and they only have so much time. They don't have time to do that with another game, and it's hard to pull them away from already being on that game they've already invested so much time into, right? So you're not seeing like another Fortnite pop up, you know, because they already take up so much space in the market. Patrick Adams, since you're still alive, Jodie, I have something important to say. I sent you a link to my Pac-Man media folder. You're in for a big surprise. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you so much. Did you DM me? I'll check that after the show. Thank you very much. Dank Community Centre. That's unfortunate. People use pronouns as a way to enable their shenanigans. Hey, they do. So they do. But what it is, most people do not go and look at your, if they're, you know, hurling abuse or whatever, they don't normally go and look on my profile to see, oh, you know, what pronouns I'm using, whatever, right? So what they were doing before was looking at my picture, right, and then deciding and using that as a basis to put me down that I'm female and I don't know what I'm talking about. That was implied in what they were saying, right? So, you know, that's one reason not to have a picture of yourself on Twitter or social media, which is unfortunate, but that is often what it's like as a woman on social media, online or whatever. So thanks. This logical banter doesn't exist on that. It's not exactly. Adagium says there are a lot of insane people on Twitter. In Twitter, you cannot have a different opinion, or they crowding you with a lot of hate. Yeah, it is exactly. So yeah, I will put my opinions on Twitter, but I've kind of pulled back from Twitter because of the stuff that's happening there, the way the company's run. The person that's running it now is opened up the platform to a lot of you know, hateful people, like extremists, like white supremacists and stuff like that. That sort of stuff is going. I'm not going to get into that here, but that is kind of some of the stuff that's going on in Twitter, and I've pulled back from that. Not to mention the fact with the change of the algorithm and basically not promoting people that are not signed up to this Twitter Blue, and like if you didn't already have like an established like lots of followers before and you're not like doing a lot of stuff, then you kind of like penalized for it. So for example, like the algorithm kind of leaked and somebody went into it. This is like a few months ago, and like for something example, if you put a link in your tweet, you're kind of penalized for that, like a link to an outside website, you're kind of penalized for that. So stuff like that. Thank Me Center says good perspective, Mousy. Yeah, it's really good perspective, and really glad I got to talk to Mousy about it. Something we haven't really spoken about, but maybe it's just kind of like an unspoken understanding that we kind of had. But yeah, like basically you have certain experiences in life and online. You can be abused for certain things. So and then people, if you have a picture of yourself, as I did for like years, people make a judgment, you know, based on that. And I have no problem with people seeing pictures of me and stuff like that, but people decide that they're going to you know, hurl certain abuse at you. So yeah, in the times that has happened, I've only ever blocked a couple of people on Twitter and had to report them, but yeah, it did happen a couple of times. So I did report. I don't know what happens, but I did block and report them. And then over on our Discord, oh, Kike's here. Kike, come in. Kike, come in today. Oh no, let's bring him in. Are you in? Wait, hang on. Oh, okay. Kike's here. Whilst Kike prepares, I'm going to read the comments on Discord. Jago says, Jim Ryan said something along the lines of that Switch was less sophisticated than the PlayStation, Xbox, and the consoles comparable to that of a child's plaything, which is why they're not a competitor. Or you could just buy a PS4 as a Blu-ray player. I think that's a comment on what we were saying before this second part. But yeah, did he actually say child's plaything? But I mean, he, you know, saying they're not a competitor because it's in a different it's not as powerful as yeah, I mean, it's true, it's not. But
did he say that with a monocle and a
and a
cup of tea?
And a cup of tea? Probably. Welcome, Kike. How are you doing today?
It's been good. Just been busy a lot.
Yeah. What time is it for you now?
What time?
Yeah.
It's about 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, you're like 5 hours behind me. It's like almost 8 here. 8 p.m. And the weather has not been great all day. It's been completely clouded over. Very, very windy. You probably heard the wind a bit, and just really kind of grey and miserable for like almost being July. But then this is London weather. This is British weather. So, you know, we're kind of used to this crappy weather. This is what it's like. And even now, I'm sitting here by my the computer's right next to like my balcony, right? So it gets, even though I have double glazing or whatever, it gets cold over in this corner. So I have to put the little heater on that I have over here.
Hey.
So yeah, what would you like to talk about today? Oh yeah, oh god, there's loads of comments on here. Wait, let me read some of these. No, this is Mid. Her name is literally, it's not Mid, is it? Is a character for Final Fantasy 16 called Mid? An NPC? She called Mid? What? Are you being serious?
That'd be hilarious.
Is that real, Jago? You just make that up. That sounds like sort of thing Jago would make up. Thank you for the folder. Jago says, sorry Jodie, but women don't exist on the internet. Yeah, I know. I'm just a figment of your imagination. Just don't worry about it. Patrick, who's the Wolf Bunny 64, for people who don't know. I still believe Jim Ryan's endgame is Western developer domination, since he thinks Nintendo Switch is a child's plaything. Well, he's getting there with the Western developer domination thing, right? Jago, what really? Yeah. I never met a male Jodie. Yes, it is also a unisex name, so there are male Jodies. Yeah, it's kind of strange that I've come across it, but I have come across it before. And then we got a picture of Horse or Horace, whatever. I almost swore there about this character. I'm not gonna swear. This is the character from 1-2. What's it called? 1-2. Everybody Switch.
Everybody want to switch.
Everybody want to switch. It's like a rubber horse head on like a human with a rubber horse head, and this is so dodgy. But this is the character from that Mid. Johanna says, yeah, curated my timeline. Now it's mostly video game news or video game deals. Yeah, I had to do the same thing. Johannes, is that character really? Are you making? I'm gonna look that up. I don't know if you. It is an NPC, right? Bye, Mousy. Jago says, yeah, it's been overcast. Yeah, her name is Mid. Yeah, her name is Mid. He had to write it twice. Her actual name is Mid. Okay. How far into the game do you meet this character? I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 16. I'm gonna see if this character's really there called Mid. Kike, what would you like to talk about today?
That's a good question. I came into the show later, so I don't know how much you guys have covered.
Well, when Mousy came in, I was talking about the Nintendo Q&A, but Mousy obviously was just here on her lunch break, so we just talked about the FTC, Microsoft and FTC hearing. So we was talking about that and some of the the interesting bits of information that came out of that, like the budget for Horizon Forbidden West. And the budgets are just like absolutely wild, because I think that I'm pretty sure from the way they described it, it seemed like it didn't include the marketing. So marketing's like
no, yeah, it never includes marketing. Even like marketing is handled by their different divisions. So SIE America handles America, like SIE Europe handles Europe.
Oh, I see. Right.
Japan handles Japan, and they make their own budgets, like considering how they think. Like America's gonna have a big spend in America because they know it's gonna sell. But like Japan is gonna be like, maybe we can put some advertisements in some magazines and such.
Right.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, they budget for the region.
Yeah, but no, yeah, 220, yeah, around that point, yeah, that's development.
Yeah, that's really high. Because like I was thinking like, I thought maybe it's like 100 to 150 million, but 200 million like budget. I mean, basically that budget is like blockbuster movie budget, right? Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, there's blockbuster movies that would have even cost less than that. Like, how much did, like, for example, Avengers Endgame cost to make?
No, do not put Avengers Endgame. That movie cost 300 million.
Was it 300 million? Okay, so that was not quite Avengers Endgame then, but but definitely blockbuster movie.
Yeah, most blockbusters are 200 million. Some are 100 million.
Okay.
Like the big movies are 300 million.
Wow.
Freaking James Cameron spending
okay, 100 to 200 million for blockbuster. Jago, did you know that off the top of your head, or did you just Google that? I don't know how you did that for so fast. Jago says Endgame was $356 million.
Yeah,
Jago, did you know that, or did you just Google that? I don't know how he had that up so far. You remember? Okay, right, yeah. Jago's a font of information. He has a lot of information off the top of his head. Thank you for that. The budgets are extremely high. So it's one of those things that they, you can kind of understand in a way why. Like when you're playing with budgets that high, right, you can't be screwing up, right? So we saw with, if we're talking about SIE, like for example, actually I don't know if that was to do with sales or more just like the reviews or the reception or whatever, but you know that game, mine's gone blank, what was it called again? Days Gone.
Days Gone?
The reception was a little bit mixed on that one, and they basically kind of didn't green light a sequel to that game. And some of the key people that the producer, maybe the producer was the director, but anyway, some people at the top kind of left that studio because of that situation. And so I don't know if that was also to do with sales as well of that game in particular.
Well, it's weird because it's sold if you're thinking about units, it sold well. Mm-hmm. The thing is that game was a lot of the time on discount.
Oh, okay, right. Oh yeah, that was Sony Bendis, the name of the studio. Yeah.
Yeah,
Massey says, yeah.
that was. We knew about that because that's where the original Last of Us remake rumor came.
Oh,
They were
that's
like,
true.
oh,
Yeah. Didn't
because it was like,
Jason Schreier report on that? Was it? I'm sure it's him that said that, right?
I think so. It was either, I think it was Ben or it was like another company, but now they're doing their own thing. Like they're doing something else now. But yeah, no. But Sony does have like, I don't know, a strict mandate, but he does tell their studios, "Hey, we want a 90+ Metacritic or else."
Wow. I mean, like, if that really is the standard, well, first of all, they have games that don't even like reach 90+. I mean, you can say they're aiming for 90+, but they do have games. I mean, Spider-Man didn't reach 90+, or Miles Morales was maybe 89. So they have games that are sell extremely well and extremely, I'd say, still critically praised, because those games are critically praised and were in the zeitgeist, but they weren't necessarily 90+ on Metacritic, right? So maybe they're aiming for that, but to have a strict thing to say like, oh, they have to be 90+. I don't know. Is that actually true, or is that just what people say?
No, I don't remember the report, but there was like a report that says like Sony does not want mid.
I can understand not wanting mid, and by and large their games have performed extremely well in sales and reviews. But I remember that one in particular I think it had some issues at launch, like bugs or something, that maybe brought the score down of that particular game. But yeah, Jago says Days Gone sold 8 million by the end of 2020. So that seems like a lot. When did it release? In like 2019, right? So I don't know.
Like
to me, that seems like a lot. But then we don't know what the budget for that game was.
Yeah, well, that's the issue with a lot of these games. We don't know what the budget is. Same with Final Fantasy 16. What's the budget on that? Did Square Enix spend their whole company on that game?
I think they spent a lot on it, because we kind of learned, or it kind of came out that Forspoken was like $100 million or something. They lost a lot of money on that because that game absolutely bombed. And you better believe that they spent more money on their flagship franchise. Final Fantasy 16, they spent a lot of money on it. That game has been sort of in development for quite a long time as well. That's the other thing with these games taking long, like the actual time. It's taken even longer to make them, right? So they definitely spent a lot of money. Plus, Final Fantasy 16 development started in 2016, so like just immediately when
2016.
Yeah, I mean, like 15 came out in 2016, didn't it? So they just started it just immediately around the same time. But it was a different studio, so maybe there was some overlap there with the initial, like with the planning and stuff like that. But
I wonder if it was another. It started as something else, but then it's like, no, this is now Final Fantasy 16. Okay. Or was
that's what happened to 15, because that was meant to be 13 verses, and they kind of like scrapped that. But 16 started as 16. Yeah, it was always 16, as Jago says, because that was like, it was a completely different studio. They it's the 14 team that's done 16. So and then Luminous were doing Forspoken, and we kind of know what happens there. But we don't know the budget for 16, but their advertising campaign that they've done for that game is enormous. Like, honestly, I go out and I see those Final Fantasy 16 double-decker buses. Actually, I've seen the one where I haven't seen the whole one that's completely covered. I've seen the ones where it just has it like that in the normal advertising space on the side. I see money there. I see them. Yeah, I mean, that's expensive to have like that many buses in London, and probably all other places over the country, and all other countries as well, with that. And they've plastered advertising. And also I did notice they look like they spent a decent, like a lot, like kind of a decent amount of advertising in Japan. I saw there's the stuff they had, like like posters and stuff plastered everywhere. They had them in the train stations. They had the free, what's the 3D billboard thing? The 3D billboards that they have. Where if you stand at a certain angle, it looks like the character or something's kind of popping out a bit. They had those with like the icons in them and stuff like that. And Jago further says, Creative Business Unit 3 finished Heaven's Ward and started working on Stormblood. Those expansions for Final Fantasy 14, people don't know. And then they started moving from 14 expansions to 16. Yeah, there's a lot of full buses in England. Fully covered buses were seen in Manchester, Birmingham, Portsmouth, Bournemouth. So yeah, cities all over the UK, and I imagine this is repeated all over the world as well. So it's not, obviously just the UK.
I saw a commercial in the movie theater, so they're definitely spending money.
Oh wow, you saw one in the movie theater as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty pricey as well.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw on the big letters, exclusive until 12/31/2023.
Okay, but that's got to be a placeholder, right? Exclusive to 12. Exclusive to what? Say the date again. Say the date again.
December 31st, 2023. That's what it said on the.
Oh, right, that's a placeholder though. Or not a placeholder. It's like It's not like it's on 1st of January. It's going to be on another platform, is what I mean. It's not.
No, but that means they have the ability to do it should they choose. I don't think they're going to have a PC version ready by then.
On the 1st of January, yeah, obviously not. But it's just like contractually, and they most likely have to put that in the commercials for legal reasons, right? It obviously must be legal reasons that they have to.
Yeah, but I do remember the sticker that came out when Final Fantasy Remake came out.
Oh, sorry, pardon me. I'm drinking gassy drinks, so that's why I burp sometimes. I remember that as well. And I remember that. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but like in 2021, so Final Fantasy 7 Remake came out in 2020, right? So when it came to like 2021, and then it was around, like it was March and it was April. Like I remember people saying, I remember even in Benji Sales stream saying, "Oh yeah, it's almost up, so we're gonna see that game soon on Xbox." And like the date came, and then it passed, and it's like, okay, so where's this game then? Why it's not on Xbox? It's not going there. And then we had, when did the DLC for Remake come out? I can't remember.
Like around summertime.
What, summer of 21?
Yeah, I think so, because I remember it was like a May state of play, and then it came out like not too long after.
So maybe that was into. I saw Jago. I bet he's furiously typing it right now. Yeah. So once that came out, there was that was only on PlayStation 5, and then there was a PlayStation 5 like physical. They released a physical for PlayStation 5, and that's when people started. I don't know if this was an actual rumor that came from somewhere, but people were saying that, oh well, Sony extended it. It was, but they extended the exclusivity. Maybe it was a rumor that came from Jeff Grubb or someone like that. So Jago says Sony re-uploaded the trailer to Oh, okay, yeah, no, I remember that trailer. No, we're not talking. I'm talking about. I remember that trailer, Jago, but we're talking about 7 Remake now. We're talking about 7 Remake. That basically there was a rumor, or people said that Sony had extended the. Well, people were saying, I can't remember the origin of that rumor though. I remember people saying that they extend, which may well be true, but I don't know where that rumor came from. I don't know if it was like Jeff Grubb or someone that was like more reputable, or if it was it was just like people speculating. I'm not sure. It might have been Jeff Grubb.
I think it was a new sticker.
No. Like, people were saying that Sony re-upped the extended exclusivity contract for Final Fantasy VII Remake when the DLC was released. That's what they were saying. And they were saying that's why it wasn't on Xbox. Because an entire year went past, right? And it didn't appear on Xbox. And now it's been like 3 years, and it's still not on Xbox. And to be frank, even if they did release it now, it's been so long that, like, the game's old at this point. I don't know if anyone's even gonna pick. I mean, sure some people would care, but it gets to a certain point where you leave it too long that you're just not gonna get a good result. But anyway,
Look,
that was the rumor.
Spencer can come to Square with a bag to port it to cover the cost.
No,
if you wanted to. Something else is coming up because
No, he can't. Not if there's a contract. That's what I'm saying. If he can drop a bag, click Microsoft dropped a bag. They went to Atlas, dropped a bag, and got those games on Xbox, on Game Pass, marketing, not exclusive, but exclusive marketing, but not exclusive games. Right? They were able to do that because Atlas had no contract with Sony. If there was a contract, he wouldn't have been able to do that. Right, so there must be some sort of because there's nothing stopping him going to Square Enix and dropping a bag. Except there's a contract. There's a contract. You can't drop any bags because they can't break the contract. So there must be some sort of contract. I don't know if Square Enix would be like just maybe they are dumb enough not to release Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox if the contract expired back in 2021. To me, that doesn't make any sense. It kind of does make sense that maybe Sony extended it indefinitely though. I don't know if it's possible to. It's probably possible, but I mean.
No publisher wants to ever unless a publisher is paying for the game, no one wants to take this is exclusive forever contract.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's probably like
actively
1 year, 2 years, 3 or so. There'll be some like in the contract it'll be written how long, not just indefinite. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they probably wouldn't sign an indefinite thing. If it was indefinite, they wouldn't have had to like re-up it or something. That was the rumor that they renewed it. So, which implies that
the only reason if it's indefinite is if like Sony actively like will publish it. Like it's
like that Death
Stranding. Nobody wants that.
Again, Death Stranding, they own like the actual IP. It seems. That's kind of a different situation.
Yeah, because I think Sony allowed Kojima to like, you can port it to PC. We're not gonna do it, but you can do it.
Yeah, which is what happened, and they went through like 505 or something like that.
Yeah, 505. Like, say with Nintendo, like, hey, can we port one over 101s? Like, yeah, you can, but we're not paying for it, but you can.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So that kind of happens. Jago says it was revealed, and Jago has a picture here. Yes, I do remember this, and it said available on. This is for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then when they had Integrate, available on PlayStation 5 at least 6 months earlier than any other format. But of course, it never appeared on any other format. Like, it's been 3 years. This game has been out at least 2 years since Integrate, and it never materialized on Xbox. It's on PC, but it's not on Xbox, and also not on the Windows Store. It's on Epic.
The only reason people actually do stuff for the Windows Store is because they know they're getting a Game Pass check. Like that's what I noticed. If you see a game coming to the Windows Store,
Microsoft is
either at launch or soon after it goes on Game Pass. So.
Yeah, it's Microsoft. Yeah, so the fact that this game is not on the Windows Store feels like there's some contract or something, because even Death Stranding is on the Windows Store. So it went on the Windows Store and it went into PC Game Pass. If you remember.
Yeah, it went to specifically PC Game Pass. So yeah, if you see a game coming to the Windows stores, you know somebody paid it.
It went on to PC Game Pass because when Sony made that contract back then, first of all, they weren't putting their own games on PC back then, but yeah, they made it so you can put it on whatever, it it probably had like just worded because there's only thinking of maybe Steam. I don't know, but it enabled them to a different publisher to publish it, and that's how there was a loophole for it to go into
because it's not Sony, it's
PC Game
505,
Pass because it's 505, right? But it specifically did not go onto Xbox and did not go onto console Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I think that it is vanishingly unlikely that that game will ever appear on Xbox. And even if it did, let's say it released on Xbox like next week, like I said, there's been so many years, like it gets to a point where a game's so old that it's not like going to have the impact that it would have had even if it had released a year after the initial release, you know.
We need to time it with something else, because I know when they ported the Kingdom Hearts game, they did it when it was around Kingdom Hearts 3 to Xbox.
They did, yeah.
So they will have to be like, hey, the new Final Fantasy is actually coming to Xbox, and guess what? We got the old ones back, yeah!
Yeah, but they already put the old ones on Xbox, so they can't do it again. So they're already there.
Well, the old ones that we didn't get before.
What, the Pixel remasters? Oh my god, that's not... That's
We
not
got
going to
them,
people. And you think I'm trying so hard not to swear. Nobody is going to give a bleeping bleep about the goddamn Pixel remasters on if you pair it up with Final Fantasy. No, it needs to be something. It needs to be something better than that, man. No, it needs to be better than that. Not Pixel remasters. I think that's not gonna. People can bring. Oh, yes, I can play them. Old, you know, the games from 30 years ago. I don't. Two dudes gonna play that on Xbox, Sister Hannah's. Yeah, exactly. Like that's not gonna entice. No, it's just not. I know.
Actually, I gotta go because they're calling me for another meeting.
Okay,
so
no worries. Thanks for joining us, Kike, and have a nice rest of your day.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, so now it is just me. How long have we been live? 2 hours 36 minutes. So yeah, we'll go for just a little bit longer. Mousy isn't here to tell me off, but I have not gone over 3 hours, Mousy. Right? So you can't tell me off. Jago says, I remember Final Fantasy VII trailer said it was exclusive for 1 year. I know Final Fantasy VII deals were extended because of Integrate. That's what everyone says, it was extended because of Integrate. Okay, so you got okay, so basically what Jago's done is it was Integrate came out in 21, right? The original box for Final Fantasy VII, the remake, right, said exclusive. Okay, so Jago's got pictures of it here. I can show this on the stream. Give me a sec. Okay, so Jago has pictures of it here. So basically, the first one we look at, right? So this released in April 2020. So in April 2020, on the box art for Final Fantasy VII Remake, it says PlayStation exclusive, play first on PlayStation 4, timed exclusives until the 3rd of the 3rd 21. So yeah, so you're looking around a year after it originally released, right? So that means they have to put these things on the boxes, like it's like legal, for legal reasons, right? So at least until then, that's when the actual contract was up. So that happened, and it came, and that date came and went, and the game didn't appear. So then Jago says that when Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is released, which was the DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake, when did that release again, Jago? When did Integrate release? That was in 21, right? June 10th, 21. Was it? Why did you react with a pot, friend? Is that meant to tell me that that's when it was? Okay, so Okay, so that date of the 3rd of March 21 came and went, right? So then when Intergrade released in June 10th 2021, the in the trailer, so I guess this was in the trailer, right, for the game, it says available on PlayStation 5 at least 6 months earlier than any other format. So I mean that implies that there's like a 6-month contract if it's 6 months earlier, so it's another 6 months. So if that happens, this is already past the original date for the Final Fantasy VII remake. So yes, I guess it does imply that there was there's another contract. That's what it implies, right? But that happened obviously way over way over a year past Intergrade, and it still didn't appear on Xbox. So either there's still some contract active, and it might be that and I know people have speculated this, that like all 3 of the Final Fantasy VII remake series would release before they release it on Xbox. So Rebirth, and then the other, I can't remember what the other one's called, Renaissance or whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, the 3rd one, right? So, or maybe they didn't tell us what the 3rd one was called. Was that it? I can't remember. Did they tell us? Am I just making that up? I can't remember. But yeah, so there was yes, people are speculating that all 3 of those would release before they then release just all 3 of them together, or maybe not at the same time, but release them all on Xbox. But that will be years away, because like, okay, so Rebirth is coming out next year, and then how long would it take them to make the 3rd one? Wait, so hang on, there was like 4 years between the first 2. So yeah, it could be another 4 years on top of that, you know? So what, 2028? So it could be like 2028. So we're saying these games are going in 20. Who is going to give a bleeping bleep about Final Fantasy VII remake in 2028 on Xbox? Nobody. Nobody's gonna care. They barely care now. Okay, I'll take that back. They would care. There would be people that would go out and buy it and everything. But like, if it really is that long, like. Yeah, like that's kind of like, I don't know, man. That does not seem like a good strategy to me to do that, because you're going to get like extremely poor sales for like an old game like that at that point on Xbox. Like the sales are not going to be good anyway, because we know the situation with Xbox and JRPGs and everything. So it's not going to be great anyway. But like, they're making it worse if that's what they're doing. I don't know. There's people just speculate. I have no idea if that's true or not. But all we know is that it's not on Xbox right now. So something's gone on there. Jacob says, I think the trilogy will go to Xbox a couple of years after Part 3. Okay, so I'm speculating that Part 3 will be in 2028. It will be like 4 years after Part 2. 2028. So 2 years after that. Okay? Which that's 2030, Jago. You realise that, right? That's 2030 at that point. Who going to care about Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2030? Jago! Who's going to care? No one's going to bloody care! They're going to be ancient by that point. I don't know, man. That's like... if that is what Square Enix is doing, that is like an L on top of an L. That is, because that game was... like, you're just killing dead like any. Good lord. Jago, I'm scrolling it now, Jago. Oh my god, I'm literally scrolling. Jago, I'm scrolling it now. Jago says yes. That was meant to tell you when. Yes, in February to play the phone hasn't been named. Oh, it hasn't been named. 2030. Oh yeah, okay. You said 2030 up there. All right. Yeah, nobody cares about. Yeah, nobody. I was not saying they don't care now. So if you wait that long, like if it's, and we don't. Final Fantasy 16 may never be on Xbox either. It might do. We don't 100% know, but let's say that has some huge delay on it. at that point, like, you can't. It's like, I feel like either they want to cultivate an audience on Xbox or they don't, because you just can't expect anything good to happen from having that kind of a gap. Like, if it really was 2030, Jago, good lord. Phil Spencer cares, does he? Does he? It'll be digital only and Emma's can get Game Pass. Jago, even if it's in Game Pass, like, nobody's gonna care about a 10-year-old game, man. If it really does come out in 2030. Like, who would think about it now? Like, a 10-year-old game releasing in Game Pass, like, a game from 10 years ago, it goes in Game Pass now. Like, people don't care like that. Like, like, you and I might care because, you know, we're like, oh, it's that game from, I remember that, or something like that. But, like, I don't know, average person, when it's talking about something like a subscription service, like, you need, like, new stuff to entice them, or stuff that's, like, within a couple of years of release, right? Even if it's not day and date, it says a couple of years within release. By the time you get into, like, 10-year-old games, like, I don't know that people care like that. What, Mousy? What is it? Oh no, I can't listen. Oh no. You are missing a good conversation. You can watch the VODs, Mousy. Oh no. I'm sorry, Mousy. I'm in a meeting, says Mousy. Oh, I'm sorry. If Final Fantasy 16 goes to Xbox, it will be after Final Fantasy 17 releases. Oh my god. Okay, so how long was between 15 and 16? 15 was 2016. And then that's the 4 year. Oh, bad at maths. 8 years? No, 7 years. That's a 7-year gap. So what? So then 7 years from now, Final Fantasy 17 will release? These gaps between games are just way too long, by the way. So Final Fantasy 17 could be 7 years from now. So again, that's 2030, Jago. So we're talking about 2030, like if they really go to 2030, right? Let's just say that this was hypothetical. This is all hypothetical, right? So let's just say it's 2030 until these games appear on Xbox. That means you've gone from 2016. That would be 14 years with no new mainline Final Fantasy game on Xbox. Like, they will. What audience there may have been would just like be non-existent. On their games would really badly underperform. I'm sorry, Mousy. I hope you can listen later. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me put a reaction. Oh, I'm sorry. Jago says Xbox players don't play JRPGs, so it'd be worthless, but it'll give Game Pass some diversity, I guess. 7 years between. What I'm saying. Oh yeah, well, it give Game Pass diversity, but like, is it worth paying for a game? Like, it's not the sort of thing that entices people to, like, it needs to be new stuff. Mousy says, I feel like you're talking behind my back. I am talking behind your back. Adagium, are you Adagium from the YouTube chat? It took Persona 5 like 6 years to be released outside PS, so it'll be like 6 years, probably. But that wasn't due to a contract, that's just Atlas being Atlas. Oh, you're in the waiting room! I didn't see! Come in. I accidentally switched my rooms around as well, I'm not just dumb here. Adagium Garlands, welcome, and please tell me exactly how to pronounce your name. Oh no, they left! They left! Okay, well, Adagium got cold feet, never mind about that. Jago says, I believe 16 or 17 is currently in development and has been. What gives you reason to believe that? And has been for at least a year, considering that 16 was finished last year, but they delayed it to polish. But how do you know it's in development? By which studio, Jago? Who's developing it? Creative Business Unit 3? I don't think they're developing that right now. Jago, what leads you to believe that? Tell me. No. Okay, so one of the other... No, it's not Luminous! Luminous thinks... Luminous is not back. Keep going. No! Luminous is not back. Luminous got absorbed back. Yeah, I'm glad that happened and nobody lost their job, because that could have ended a lot more bad, a lot worse. So I'm glad that happened and everybody kept their jobs and stuff. Creative Business Unit 2 handles a lot of different IP. Mousy, I'm sorry, you'll have to listen to the... You'll listen back to the VOD. If you do listen to the VOD and hear me talking about you, telling you to listen to the VOD, so it'll be funny. It'll be funny at least. Jago says, Creative Business Unit 2 handles a lot of different IP. 1 and 3 handles Final Fantasy, at least right now. Okay, yeah. And, yeah, they're kind of divided up with a lot of different IP and stuff. Let's quickly get back to, okay, Adagium says, sorry, I had trouble with Discord. I used the web version. Oh, I see. No problems, Adagium. I thought you just kind of like... I was like, oh, he came in and he kind of bailed, but it's no worries. I understand the technical difficulties and stuff. Let's quickly look at the rest of the Nintendo investors thingamabob before we end the show. Wii U was launched around 6 years after Wii, and Super Famicom was launched around 7 years after Famicom. Nintendo Switch has entered its 7th year, and I gather it has come to its final phase. So can you please tell us about any specific measures for transitioning to the next generation game system? Furukawa. Oh, this is a long answer. I don't know if I'm reading all this. Nintendo Switch cumulative sales have exceeded 120 million units. In the history of our dedicated video game platform business, there has never before been a time when we forecast annual hardware sales of 15 million units and software sales of 180 million units for the 7th year of a platform for Nintendo Switch, the year to March 2024. We believe that we have entered uncharted territory. It will not be easy for hardware sales to continue at the same pace going forward as seen in the past 2 years, but we can take advantage of the large install base to create business opportunities for software. Among the Nintendo Switch titles, there are some for which sales exceed 10 million units in just the first 3 days. The examples include last year's Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, and this year's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For past platforms, there are no examples of titles selling at this pace. By continuing to release new titles and providing new add-on content for existing titles, we hope people will continue playing, will keep playing Nintendo Switch for a long time to come. Regarding the transition to the next generation platform, in the past, hardware was the only way for us to connect with our consumers. So with each new platform, we needed to rebuild our relationship. But in the case of Nintendo Switch, we can directly connect with a wide range of customers via Nintendo accounts. More than 290 million Nintendo accounts have been created by people around the world, not only via our dedicated video game platform, but also via mobile apps. Regarding the move from Nintendo Switch to next generation platform, we'll make good use of the Nintendo account system to make this a smooth transition for our consumers. So yeah, the Nintendo account system, and you can also use those on their mobile games, right? And for Switch. So, and I believe they also use them at the theme parks. So what they're talking about is that basically that it's not even just like people that Switch that have this. There are people that are just on the mobile. Obviously, there's not 290 million Switches, right? So there's a whole load of these accounts created or mobile, and you probably I think you can use them on their website and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just basically going to keep the same account in the next system. Oh, wait. Oh no, I thought this was about the game. This is about the goddamn tournament. There are technical difficulties for an official game tournament. I don't care about that. Right, so for Nintendo, for a Pokemon tournament, I don't care about that. Now this question was absolutely wild, and I think I talked about this last week because somebody didn't believe me that Nintendo still puts like the amount of they put playing cards as a separate thing on their financial report. They still put playing cards etc. on there, like the money they make from it. Nintendo is a company with its roots in manufacture and sale of Hanafuda and other playing cards, but in the field of trading card games, nothing new has been released since Fire Emblem Zero Cypher. So there's a Fire Emblem trading card game in Japan. It's Japan only, which support ended in 2022. What are your plans going forward? Now, this doesn't seem, I don't know, man. I hope that they do something, but yeah, he talks about Animal Crossing Amiibo card, which I have most of those cards, by the way, because I'm just a weirdo collector and I have them all. But anyway, there's like hundreds of them. I collected them. But anyway, like, I don't know, like, so let's see what Fuel Cards this is. I cannot say anything specific about game cards at the moment. If you consider Amiibo, it was originally a figurine product where you tap the figure on the gaming system for all sorts of connected gameplay. But it has since expanded to include card-type products with Animal Crossing Amiibo cards. We are a company that provides entertainment, so if we come up with an idea we think consumers will find interesting, we are ready to actively take up the challenge, even in fields outside of our dedicated video game platform business, which they have. Unfortunately, there has not been any new cards. So no new cards. That Xenogears Remaster is never happening, Jago. You need to get that out of your head right now. That's not happening. It's never going to happen. Sorry if you heard that. It's not. No, Jago, it's not. Listen. You just need to. This is the thing. Jago, I have to tell you that now. You need to accept that Square Enix is an L company. Alright? This is the thing you need to accept. They are an L company that will not do the most obvious things that people have been asking for decades. Alright? People have been asking for Xenogears. People have been asking for Chrono Trigger on modern platforms, on modern consoles. Have they done it? Jacob said I didn't know. Jacob said I didn't know that already. Xenogears won't return. What? They're not going to do that. Oh yeah, they had the Mario. Yeah, I remember the Mario because they flopped. That's why they didn't mention those. Those cards flopped. Kike. They completely flopped. The Animal Crossing Amiibo cards did well, to the point they didn't reprint them for 8 because initially they printed too many of them, I think. And then they were all for New Leaf, right? And that Amiibo card, the Amiibo festival game, whatever. But then, like, when they went rare, you could just buy this. That's how I ended up with so many of them, because they started going cheap to the point you could buy an entire box of them, like the full retail box, completely full, and it would have like every card in it. That's how I ended up getting like the collecting them. And then it got to the point those sold out, and then by the time they released New Horizons, they hadn't printed any more, and then all of them went ultra rare. And Nintendo was so slow, and they did reprint them eventually, including the Hello Kitty ones, which I was surprised at. Nah, there ain't gonna be no Xenogears. Look, Jacob, just give it up. You just give it up. They've been working through their back catalogue at a snail's pace. If they're working, why are they? Listen, they have gone back and remastered some old games, but like, why are they not doing the ones that people are actually asking for? They went and did like Romancing Saga. What was that one? Saga Frontier. What on earth it was? Who was asking for that? People have been asking for Xenogears. People have been asking for Chrono Trigger. Please explain to me. Please explain that to me. I don't understand. My RPG could prove that could be possible, says Adagium. The thing is though, is that's like that's also Nintendo that's involved in that. Right, so Square Enix, yeah, but Square Enix can't go ahead and do that without Nintendo, and Nintendo couldn't go ahead and do it without Square Enix, so they had to agreed to that, right? And I'm not sure that Square Enix was actually involved in the making of this remake. But I don't know who's doing it, but it might just be that they agreed to have. Obviously, they signed off, agreed to have their IP used, and they're probably taking a cut of the profits and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think that means we're gonna get no Xenogears. Just forget about Xenogears, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like they would have done it by now. Like, why did they do Chrono Cross and not Chrono Trigger? Ask yourself that. They did both it's both Romancing Saga and Saga Frontier. Who was asking for that? I know Saga's a Final Fantasy spin-off, but people have been asking for Final Fantasy Tactics. That's actual Final Fantasy. Why didn't they do that one? Jago. This is what I mean about them being an L company. Okay, there's rumours about Final Fantasy. There's always rumours about goddamn Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't care. Yes, okay, alright, fine. It's an Nvidia leak or whatever. I'm trying not to swear. You're making me swear, Jay. Jago's getting me excited and trying to make me swear. They're literally in the... Jago! So, it's all caps. I'm going to bring Streamlabs bot in here to stop you doing that. We got a question about Fire Emblem. Sales of Fire Emblem Engage, which released on January 20th, seem to be lower compared to Fire Emblem Three Houses, especially outside of Japan. For that previous installment, it felt like the excitement was maintained by the release of Fire Emblem Cypher and related events. So they're talking about, the card game. But those measures were lacking for Fire Emblem Engage, so why don't you consider more proactive measures? Good question. But see there, again, obviously asking these questions from a perspective like in Japan, where they did have this cards game, and there was all sorts of events and stuff going on like that we didn't see outside of Japan, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Let's see. Another thing is that I think basically Fire Emblem Engage was basically delayed because of COVID. I think it was meant to be like for the 35th anniversary. They wanted, because it's got like all different old characters and stuff in it, right? All characters from older Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem games. I'm tired. We're ending the stream soon anyway. Furukawa says, in order for consumers to keep their emotional attachment to game characters and IP, it is important that we not only provide new in-game offerings, but also appeal to those consumers in areas outside of the game. And what I'm saying here is not limited to any individual title. For instance, selling character merchandise at directly owned and operated official stores and working with our partner companies to sell licensed merchandise products provides opportunities for people to come in contact with Nintendo characters and Nintendo game worlds. Through these kinds of initiatives, we aim to continuously expand the number of people who have access to Nintendo IP. We appreciate your feedback about our initiatives related to the Fire Emblem series. So, when this is licensed stuff, like, I feel like for Fire Emblem in particular, there's been like a load of like licensed figures and stuff like that. So I'm guessing maybe that's what he's referring to. He's saying selling character merchandise at directly owned and operated official stores. So he's got to be talking about those figures, right? Didn't they make a load of Fire Emblem figures? I feel like they did, but somebody, probably Jago. Please, I saw Jago. He's typing it right now. Question 7. I visited Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios in Japan the other day. By the way, these are actual investors asking questions, right? These are actual investors that have spent money, like they have Nintendo stock. So these questions are kind of wild. Like I don't know why you're going to an investor and asking this question. Anyway, so they went to Universal Studios Japan Nintendo World. It was a lot of fun, but the scale felt a little confined. Nintendo is a competitive company with its own characters. So how about expanding the theme parks to more locations in the future? I don't know why you'd ask this question, because like it's obvious that isn't it obvious that that's what they're going to do? They've got it in like 3. They've got one in. Is it one in Tokyo or what? I can't remember. Yeah, or Osaka, and then one in US. But they're already doing this, so why would you ask it? Like, they literally already have, like, yeah, he's saying right here, this is stuff that, what he's answering here is stuff they've already announced. So why, this person's asking a question about stuff that's already previously, they've already announced, we're expanding the one in Japan with the Donkey Kong area, we're opening another one up in the States, we're opening more, so they've already, like, this person, like, just completely disconnected from the internet or anything, like, they in the know enough to have stock in Nintendo, go to Super Nintendo World and they're going to answer this question, and go to this thing and answer this question, but they don't know that Nintendo have already publicly announced this is what they're doing. It makes no sense to me, but anyway, here we go. Furukawa's answer. There are plans to expand Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Japan by opening an area themed after Donkey Kong in 2024. In addition, Universal Studios Japan began holding its No Limit Parade in March, including a Mario Kart float, and this summer there's a plan to hold a water splashing festival. A what? A water splashing festival called Super Mario Power Up Summer. That sounds fun. Following Super Nintendo World in Osaka, a Super Nintendo World area opens this year in the US in Hollywood. Super Nintendo World is also planned to open in the US city of Orlando and in Singapore, and we hope to provide a chance for even more people around the world to come in contact with our characters. All that stuff has already been announced. So why this person asking a question of something that's already publicly, because this isn't new information, already publicly being announced by Nintendo is beyond me. Why would you waste your question on this? Oh man, they really Jacob's really got into one on the oh my god. Give me a second. Oh god, I just realised I'm reading these questions and I've got the wrong screen up. Oh god. Sorry about that. Okay, so Miyamoto also gave an answer to that same question. Nintendo's appeal is in its ability to provide spaces where the whole family can have fun. The fact that Nintendo characters and games are enjoyed across 3 generations by people all over the world is our strength, and it is something really special. I sense that our initiatives with mobile applications and movie production have increased the number of people worldwide who are aware of our IP. With the Super Mario Bros. Movie, we've heard many people say that they went with their families to the theatre and had fun watching the movie together. Regarding the theme park business, we would like to continue to work closely with Universal destinations and experiences. Stay tuned for announcements from them. We intend to work on multiple visual content projects. What does that mean? Through these kind of efforts, we hope to make our IP known to people of all generations around the world and create a brand that families can enjoy with peace of mind. Thank you for your continued support going forward. What are these multiple visual projects? Interesting. Oh my god, and this next question is absolutely... Now, they've cut this down. Now, we know from like reports that people were there, this person ranted, right? Furukawa had to interrupt them, and they have edited it right down what was actually said in this question they've put here. You'll notice that the answer's really short, right? Because I think Furukawa just like shut it down. Okay, so this is this person that paid specifically, saved up, but they weren't like rich or anything. They had to save up all this money, and I think they were reselling OLEDs and stuff like that to raise the money to do this, right? This question is absolutely wild, and I'll explain exactly why. This is regarding the Inkling Boy character who appeared in the Splatoon series. Splatoon 3, the latest title in the series, allows players to select their character's appearance. However, I think the designs resembling Inkling Boy were not featured as much as they should have been. Inkling Boy in the Splatoon series has many fans, so I would like this character to be featured more often. Alright? This person paid, like, it was over $3,000. They bought Nintendo stock to be at the... This investors me. It is absolutely wild. Furukawa says the specifications of a game are determined based on a comprehensive consideration of various factors. So while we cannot satisfy every request, your opinions are valued. It's just like that's like this an answer to shut this person up, because they're just ranting. So this is the thing with in Splatoon, especially in Splatoon 3, now they've cut it out here, but apparently this person was actually talking about the customization options in the game as well, right? Because someone else who was there reported on that, right? So the thing that's wild is in Splatoon 3, there are more customization options than ever, including the fact that stuff that was previously gender locked in Splatoon 2 and 1 is no longer gender locked in Splatoon 2. So if you pick either the Inkling boy or Inkling girl, it's like, I would say one character's like more feminine or one's more masculine. They have different animations and stuff like that. They look broadly the same. A few obvious differences, right, in, you know, the gender, and their animated differences. I think their walk animation and run animation is completely different, right? But the hair styles and the bottoms, like, see in Splatoon, like, your gear is always on for the top half, and then your weapons and a headgear, but your bottom half gear doesn't have anything attached to it, right? It's just you can just select like a set kind of plain bottom half, right? Before, those were all gender locked, so you could only get like there was one that looks like more like shorts, so you could only get it for the boy, and one that looked a little bit more like a skirt or something like that, you could only put it on the girl. But they've changed that now, and the hairstyles you can freely put on either the boy or the girl. So what I would really have talked about is the fact that for Octolings, now they've added Octolings into Splatoon 3 that were before in Splatoon 2 you had to play and complete, you had to beat the DLC in order to unlock the Octoling character, right? In Splatoon 3 you can select either an Octoling or an Inkling, but the Octolings have like way less hairstyles than in the Inklings, and that's just a carryover from Splatoon 2, and they haven't I thought they would add a whole load of more new hairstyles for the Octolings. The thing that, if anything was to complain about, is a lack of hairstyles for Octolings, not this Inkling boy nonsense. And they're saying the Inkling boy is not featured or seen as much. Like, whenever they do any Splatoon stuff, it has all different like Inkling boys and girls, and I don't know what this person is talking about. No, you could talk about maybe the idols, the fact that the idols for 1 and 2 were both female, and then for 3 they did add a male idol, right? They a big man. You could maybe talk about that. So yeah, we have big man now. By the way, where's my big man amiibo? Where are my amiibo? Where's my deep cut amiibos? That's what I want to know. I know you're saying, oh, you've got to wait longer, whatever. Okay, we just have them now. We can't wait so long. Look at the goddamn deep cut amiibo. Yes, we got to wait for those inevitable deep cut amiibos. Don't have them yet, but yes, they did add, which is, you know, really. I think it's really good that they added 3 idols, and at least one's male, right? So we have a male idol, big man. But I don't know, this person was kind of ranting, and they've cut down like what they said right down because it was wild. So yeah, it was like reported also that this person had written to Nintendo many times. Unfortunately I don't have the link in front of me. I need to start preparing this stuff early in the week when we get these interesting news. But yeah, there was a link to the person's, I had the pictures and everything, the person's blog who went to who went to the investors meeting and witnessed this with this person doing that, and then that person had a Twitter account when they had pictures of like like handwritten letters that they'd written to Nintendo about the Inkling boy, like, oh, you're not featuring Inkling boy enough, and I don't know, what are you talking about? I don't know, because they have, like, with the Inklings, they have all different ones, right? That they have on all the different promotional materials. They have, it's not just 1 or 2. There's like loads of them on the promotional material. Like, let's look now. I'm telling you now. Splatoon. Okay, so this person is talking about Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3. So I just put advertisement. Splatoon 3 advertisement, okay? Let's look at images. Let's see what we find. Okay, so this is something, a direct announcement. This is, okay, that's the more female character. Splatoon 3. Well, these, this is Summer Run. Well, you know, you can't even tell. Okay, no, you can tell, so that okay, and I can tell that that's a female Octoling because they have different eyes. But, I mean, can you tell? Okay, some of these are just screenshots though. This is the same from this is a screenshot from a Japanese commercial. I want actual ads. Okay, so you could say this is a, you know, is that a well, this advert, that's an Octoling. So you can't tell. You can. The female Octolings have like a teardrop thing at the corner of the eyes, but this one you can't kind of see that much though. Here. So okay, so this you could say is more of a female character. I think this is what they're complaining about. They didn't like, so that thing there's cut down, but they were complaining about that Agent 8 or 7 or whatever they're called, you know, your own. But the thing is, right, that own character is like it's like you can customize that Agent. Is it Agent 7 or 8? You can customize them to look whatever you look like. So they don't like that they're not in the promo material. So they don't like that in the promo material here that we have here. This is just the game splash thing on oh, it's Agent 3 and oh, it is Agent 3, okay, right. So they don't like that you can see the female character at the front. I guess is what they're talking about. They don't like that the female character's at the front. What is this? Is a video? I don't know what this is. Oh no, I'm not playing it. What is this? It's trying to play a whole thing. No, we will not play that. Yeah, I'm just trying to see ads. Okay, so they don't like that. So there's a yellow inkling, and a yellow inkling is female. This is what they don't like, I'm guessing. So here was the expansion pass announcement trailer. Oh my god, I can't. It's playing the whole thing. So it's playing the whole video. Look, it's a snappy electronic music. Yes, you can see the expansion parts. Yes, you can see a female character, but like you can see all different. Like, I don't know why this is being complained about, because like there aren't even that many games that will have like a, especially Nintendo games that just have a thing. I mean, what have you got? You got Metroid. How many Nintendo games have just a female character at the front of it? Especially when in Splatoon, it's not like a set character. It's like a customizable character, right? So they don't like this. Please tell me name me all the Nintendo franchises that have a female character at the front of it. That's not Metroid. I'm sure there's some I'm missing out on, but what I'm saying is there's not that many. I'm kind of looking through these images. Was this from one of the Turf War Battle commercial? Is this from a commercial? I don't know if I've seen this. Oh, get rid of this nonsense. Okay, so this was a commercial. Okay, but this features humans in it though. These are like real human people. Okay, so they have this person wasn't talking about this because this is like a American ads, but they have a girl. They do have a girl in this ad, which is interesting. And they have boys. Well, they have boys and girls and all. Just look, all different. They are advertising this game to everybody. If you look at like the actual, these are the people they have playing the game. It's girls and boys and everybody. Look. Oh no, wait, hang on. They're just explaining Turf War to you. Look at this. These are all different different genders, different ethnicities. I feel like Splatoon's actually a very inclusive game, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I mean, this looks like to me it looks like they're advertising this. This is an American ad, but this looks like a game that they're advertising to everybody. I can hear. I think that's Mousy typing furiously. Is Mousy? Who's typing? Oh, it's not Mousy. Big man. Big man sweep. Big man the goat. Big man's cute. I will buy a Nintendo stock so I can ask about Dragalia Lost. Okay, added. Oh, sorry, I didn't see. Adagian Garden said, "Bye, friends, gotta go. Love this channel. You're the best. Bye, Jodie. Love the show." Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you liked the stream. Let's give a heart. Thank you. Kika, you need to give it up. All right. I'm telling you right now. Dragalia Lost is lost. That's what's happened to that IP. That IP is lost. You need to give it up. Are you talking about this crazy Splatoon friend? Yes, we are. Isn't it mostly female players, Splatoon players in Japan? I believe there was a survey. There was some a couple of years ago or something, where it was more female players on Splatoon in Japan. Yes, and anecdotally, I've heard that there's a lot of female players of Splatoon in Japan. Yeah. Dank says at the forefront, Peach. Okay, but Peach has one game. I know they're doing another one now, but Peach was in one game. That was just her. Bayonetta's not a Nintendo IP. Johannes says you could say Astral Chain because dual protests too. Okay, sort of. Again, it's dual protagonists and they like customizable. Right? Are they not customizable? Sort of, kind of. Dank means sent to Arms. Arms didn't have. In fact, the character that was like on the front cover was Springman, from what I remember. Wasn't it not Springman, the one that they talked about a lot? Wasn't it Springman? Or you could see Springman and like Spring Girl, whatever, or not Spring Girl, but like something girl. But Springman seemed to be more promoted for that, from what I remember. They ignore NOA as scrubs. No, your Dragonia's gone. Oh, Ribbon Girl, that was it, Ribbon Girl. Yeah, Kika, that game was like not good, man. Kika, I'm sorry, I tried to play it. It was just so boring. Oh no, Kika's coming at me. Kika's coming for me. Oh, no. May won, didn't she? May won what? Well, who's May? You mean Min Min? Well, okay, Min Min they put into Smash, but that was because the producer of ARMS wanted to put Min Min in Smash. That's the reason why it was Min Min and not any other character, because that's the one that the producer wanted. They just said, "Oh, we're gonna put a ARMS character into Smash. Which one do you want?" Producer said Min Min. And they basically said that. Min Min was a well-liked character. She had noodles for hair. Her hair was literally noodles. And she had a dragon arm. So there's really not a lot not to love. So, I mean, some people did want different ARMS characters. I know Twin Tail was pretty popular as well. And some other characters. Some people did want, I don't know, but some people wanted Ribbon Girl. Springman wasn't, funny enough, wasn't as popular. I think people found him a bit like a bit plain compared to the designs of the other characters were. I would say yeah, Springman's design was a little bit plain, right? So I think that's why people like the other characters. But yes. Anyway, just for example, I was just looking at Splatoon and what characters they don't like that. They said, here's the thing. What's it? Even this is the little thing they had for the fresh season, right? You can't even tell what gender these characters are supposed to be because they all look the same. I only can tell that this one in the back here on the left hand side is an Octoling girl because they have the teardrop on the side of the eye that the Octoling boys don't have. That's the only way you can tell. Really. If they're not animated, if you don't see them animated and moving around. Now, the girls do have like a very slight chest in Splatoon, but it's very subtle. Because I mean the characters are meant to be like, I'm guessing they're like teens or tweens or something. Ibuki, okay, the Ibuki's the producer, and any character was viable, but Min actually had more presence in tournaments. Oh, is that what it was? And she won. Okay, so that's what it was then. Right. Yeah, Min was pretty popular. So that's why she ended up being in Smash. Was she one of the DLC characters? It was a DLC character, wasn't it? I feel like she was a DLC. Anyway, what this person is talking about, I'm sorry, but like, we have, and here's the promotion they did for the for the oh god, this is so tiny, I can't even see it. It's actually on the Pokemon website. Hang on. How do I make this bigger? Can I make this bigger? This is the promo they did for again, the one in the middle was an Octoling girl, I can tell because of the teardrop on the sides of the eye. But otherwise, you can put any hairstyle on any character. So, again, so this is an Octoling girl in the middle, but you will notice that the hairstyle is like one of the more masculine hairstyles. Or you could call it, I don't know, you could call it masculine or what. It's like shaved on the side. It's like a mohawk type thing. Right? But this is an Octoling girl because they have a teardrop on the side of the eye that the Octoling boys don't have. So, that's how you can tell. But apart from that, like, there's, you know, there's differences between Octolings and Inklings that you can tell. Like, the Inklings have like more pointy ears, the Octolings have rounded ears. You know, the Inklings have like the bit in the middle of their eyes where it's kind of a mask. Octolings don't have that. Inklings also have like square fingers, and Octolings have rounded fingers. So they've done little things like that, different differences, but the hairstyles you can put, apart from the whole thing that Octolings have way less hairstyles, that needs to be addressed. Go to the investor meetings and talk about the goddamn lack of hair options for Octolings. Somebody do that. That's the Octoling boy default hairstyle from Splatoon 2. Oh, the kind of mohawk. I really liked that one. It really, actually, in Splatoon 2, I did have a male character specifically because there was a hairstyle that was gender locked that was only on the male character that you could not put on a female character. So I had a male character for Splatoon. Not at first. I think I changed it when they added the Octoling stuff. And then I think I had an Inkling. You could only get the bowl haircut on the Inkling boy, which irritated me. But yeah, so I had that boy character for Splatoon 2. Splatoon 3, I have a girl character, but you can put any hairstyle on, so it's just not an issue. So I don't know. Maybe this is that kind of, you know. They be getting a bit crazy about Splatoon in Japan, right? They're getting a bit crazy. Certain people, anyway. Certain people, not everyone. Certain people. You know, they really like their Splatoon over there. Right, I'm gonna end the show soon. Because oh my god, it's like 3 hours 30. Mousie's not here, is she? Mousie's definitely not here. So she tell me off. Alright, I'm gonna end the show in like 5 minutes, okay? Is there any more interesting questions here? They're talking about putting 3DS software on Switch. Yeah, they will. They don't say there's a non-answer. Stock split. Don't care. Oh no, Mousie's here. Mousie, no. I'm gonna finish it in a minute. Well, you can hear me. Well, you wouldn't have answered that. She can't keep up. Well, you can hear me. It's my flat is completely dark and I'm sitting in the dark. So this is why I'm like, I need to end this stream anyway. Are you talking about putting Wii U or GameCube and Wii software on Switch? And they just answered, well, we're releasing Pikmin 1 and 2. Nintendo has held game seminars in the past. I was talking about getting developers or game development. Shinya Takahashi answered that question about I won't go into that though. Let's see. The Wii system, was used in nursing homes providing entertainment to the elderly. I can imagine Nintendo content being used in medical care and rehabilitation. Do you have any plans to implement these kind of initiatives? It was in nursing homes. I think they still would like have them in nursing homes and stuff. Using a game controller can be a challenge for people who do not normally play games, but titles like Nintendo Switch Sports, which use intuitive controls, are easily playable by a broad range of players. You want to continue to tell us to pick up okay, yeah, they're talking about Nintendo Switch Sports, which is similar to Wii Sports, but I feel like it's still the Switch is way more of like because it has like a normal controller layout. It really maybe Nintendo needs to make some sort of accessibility controller. PlayStation's made one now, so I think it'd be good if Nintendo made like accessibility controller or something for people to be able to play games. You probably can hook up like the Xbox the accessibility controller to Switch. I'm sure there's a way to do that, but it'd be good if Nintendo had their own one. This says, question 14, please tell us about Nintendo's business model. I figured a source for Nintendo's profit is selling hardware at affordable prices to increase the global install base and selling a large volume of software that can be played on the hardware rather than releasing new hardware immediately. Wouldn't it be more effective for Nintendo's businesses to focus on Nintendo Switch, which has already sold over 100 million units worldwide, and work to maximize sales of upcoming releases like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Super Mario RPG? In addition, I assume you will launch the next generation platform at some point. When you do, I'd like to see you implement robust countermeasures against reselling so the console can reach the audience worldwide who wish to enjoy games. This is an issue with every single console, right? We saw this recently with the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 consoles. Like when they come out, every single it even happened to the Wii U, believe it or not. When that very first came out, obviously after a little while it dropped off because the Wii U flopped and the sales crashed. But initially it was because there's only so many they can make, right? But Furukawa's answer here seems to be like, oh well, we're just gonna make enough consoles, which he would say that, wouldn't he? It says, regarding countermeasures against reselling, when new hardware is released, I believe it is of paramount importance to manufacture and ship units in sufficient quantities to satisfy consumer demand. We also consider whether there are any other countermeasures that can be implemented. I know about this other bit, like what they're gonna do, but the first bit, if you can just overwhelm and make sure that overwhelm the scalpers and make sure that there's enough units, like they won't be able to make enough profit from reselling them. But there's always scarcity at the beginning. That always happens because, like, how many consoles are you going to have at the beginning? Like 1 million, 2 million, So so we're almost at the end here. Okay, this is about specifications. They're going to let that information out. I'd like to hear honest opinions of developers about whether the hardware specifications for Nintendo Switch now in its 7th year are sufficient to bring all of their game ideas to fruition. Takahashi. As a game software developer, if you ask me whether Nintendo Switch has sufficient performance, I would say it is not lacking. Well, he would say that. However, game developers generally want more and will always want to incorporate a lot of elements that exceed the hardware limitations. Since the Famicom era, we have worked on how to fit these elements inside a framework with certain limitations, and our job is to figure out how to create a fun game with these constraints. I believe that some interesting content are created as a result of accommodating limitations, and we have actually been able to make this happen. And then Ko Shiota, who is the director and senior executive officer, says, we have been developing Nintendo Switch software for a long time and have used various methods to overcome performance barriers. Even now, the system developers are listening to game developers and continuously implementing initiatives to increase the smoothness and longevity of Nintendo Switch software development. Yeah, and I think, yeah, first of all, they're not going to say, oh, you know, the Switch is not. Yeah, you're right. It's not. We can't. It's too weak. It's not power. He's not going to say. Obviously, they're not going to say it. Takahashi and all these. Like, of course, they're not going to say that. But yeah, the Switch has gone. I don't think Switch, as they said, I don't think they thought that this was going to be selling like this, and the software and hardware were going to be selling like this in its 7th year. So I think they didn't like. It's only as it got on, you know, how many years have gone past, a certain number of years have gone past, there was, oh no, wait, there's like more longevity. So this has definitely gone on for longer than like Nintendo normally does with their consoles. And yeah, they do have to work within the limitations of the Switch's limited specifications, and you know, Nintendo's pretty good at doing it. Pokemon Company, Game Freak, not so much. You know, they just couldn't do it. And the last question is about, or second to last, about raising. Okay, this is a fair. Actually, you know what? I will do this question before we finish. This is interesting. This is kind of related to what we was talking about before about like the upcoming generations. Where we was talking about the low PlayStation software sales in Japan and everything. Like, I feel like there's in a situation where there's just going to be a generation that are just not growing up playing on PlayStation, and then if they're not growing up playing on PlayStation, and they're not playing those games, right? You know, I think it's less likely that they're going to aspire to work on games for PlayStation, because if you see any interviews or anything with like some senior developers now, they talk about what influenced them and why they wanted to go into the game industry, and it's because of the games they played when they were kids, or the games they played, which is why, oh, I want to make these kind of games, I want to make games like this, you know, I want to work at this company. So I think that becomes more challenging when you've got just the whole generation, they are not growing up playing on PlayStation. Like I said before in the pre-show, like there were kids that were not born when the Switch came out that are now in like elementary school. They were not born, now they're born just when the Switch came out, and now they're in elementary school, and they are not playing on PlayStation 5s in Japan. I'm telling you now, there are not a lot of elementary scholars in Japan playing on a PlayStation 5. That's for sure. It's not like back in the day when you would have got, you know, you would have been a kid playing on a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. It doesn't seem to happen like that anymore. So let me read this, because I'm getting extremely disconcerted sitting in the dark. Are people still here? Is anyone still watching this goddamn show? Oh, apparently there are people here. Alright, well, let me finish up. In fact, I'm going to turn the lights on because I'm getting like really freaked out. Hang on. Right, because it's like 9 o'clock here. Right, so 9 p.m. Okay, so let's get this. So this question's interesting because it's talking about the oh, your hair dank. Oh, awesome. Right, we're finishing soon anyway. Question: this fiscal year you announced an increase in employee base salary in Japan, and I think that is a very positive initiative in retaining talented employees. And I'll also add there were a number of other Japanese companies who also said they were raising their base salary for employees. I think that included Capcom and Bandai Namco off the top of my head. It may have also been Koei Tecmo. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a number of companies that announced. I can't remember exactly which ones said they were. All of them, it did had a bigger increase than Nintendo. I'll say that. The increases were bigger than what Nintendo did announce. Because all these companies announced it. And I think it may also be some initiative from the Japanese government as well that encourages employees to companies to do this. But I'm not 100% sure. Yes, and I think that is very positive initiative in retaining talented employees. On the other hand, increasing the employee base salary decreases the resources for dividends. So I can imagine there was some sort of negative feedback from institutional investors. Please describe the reactions from institutional investors, employees, and other companies in industry regarding the wage increase. I feel like this is a reasonable and decent question for an investor to ask, to be honest with you. Unlike the Splatoon question, the question about goddamn expanding the theme park when Nintendo already announced that. But anyway, one sec. Furukawa, I believe the most important factor in maintaining our high level of competitiveness is to value the employees that have created various popular products and built our brand. Currently, we are experiencing unprecedented levels of global inflation, and in Japan we understand that people are facing increasing financial pressure in their daily lives. For this reason, to deal with the long-term and continuing changes in the environment, Nintendo increased the base salary for all employees in Japan by 10%, separate from the annual wage increase. In addition, to strengthen our competitiveness in the global market and increase the overall capabilities of the company over the medium and long term, we increased the starting salary for new graduate hires in Japan by approximately 10%. There have been various reactions to this wage increase, and we received comments stating that the resources for dividends would decrease. But there were also positive responses from institutional investors who value human resource strategy from a medium to long-term perspective. The level of competition for human resources is increasing within the game industry, and we understand that many companies, not just Nintendo, are increasing wages for new hires through a variety of methods. So I just kind of mentions that there was a number of other companies that did that, and it is competitive. The situation in Japan is that, like, if you want people to make games, that is a skill level for which there's a limited number of people. And in Japan, they are also dealing with these declining birth rates and stuff like that. So there's competing for a limited amount of people that have this level of talent that are working within the video game industry, right? So, Nintendo and all these companies need to be competitive, and I think it's like sensible to practice. It talks about medium to long term. You need to look at it from a long term perspective, right? That yes, if you increase wages, then you've got less money for other resources. But at the end of the day, your company is the people that are making these games. Without them, there's nothing. And this isn't like a thing. We had Ariana in the Discord server who mentions this before. It's not something you can kind of just outsource to like with some certain manufacturing industries and stuff are just moved over to like Southeast Asia or China or stuff like that. It's not the sort of thing that you can kind of move like just like that and just have a whole bunch of people from other countries just doing it just like that, because of the level of skill needed to do it. It's not like manufacturing. So unless you're cultivating and investing in the new people coming into industry and graduates, then there's going to be less people that's being competed for. And I said, like I said to you, I think this is going to be a long-term issue in Japan. You have the abysmal software sales of PlayStation 5 games, right? And less of those games selling and in Japan, but maybe they're doing okay worldwide, or they're doing well worldwide in many cases as well. So they might not be selling within Japan, but then you have basically a situation where you're going to get less people within Japan that end up wanting to go and make those type of games or work at those, because there are people, they want to kind of, in a lot of cases, work on the sort of games that they grew up with and stuff like that, right? So at that point, like, how are you going to get enough people in Japan to make these so you can, you know, enough people to come into the industry to make these type of games that you're mostly selling to the West? It's like, you know, is that the future? You know, could that sort of thing happen? I think certainly like 10 years from now, 10 to 15 years from now, there's going to be an issue, because you have a whole bunch of young people growing up and they're not playing these you know, these games. I'm not even talking about just like AAA games. I'm talking about, like, look at all those AA anime games that Bandai Namco makes. You know, less and less and less of them are selling within Japan. You need people to make those games. Now, I know Bandai Namco has a whole bunch of studios all over the world, and they have them. You know, Bandai Namco has a lot of studios and stuff, right? But you know, you still need people that are interested in, you know, because think about it, right? You need to invest a lot of time and money into, like, being a game developer, and people just genuinely want to make the sort of games that they want to play. That's what I'm saying. They make the sort of games that they personally want to play, right? And if they are not playing those, that's what I'm saying. There's, like, I don't know how, like, long term, like, you know, I feel like long term there's gonna be an issue there. Let's quickly get into these comments and then end the stream. I want to go home and sleep, says Mousy. Oh, Mousy, I hope you can play. I don't know what time it is for you, but hopefully you'll finish work soon. Yeah, so Dad's homemade Xbox controller lets daughter play Zelda Breath of the Wild with the mobility thing. That's awesome. But you know, I think Nintendo needs to make their own, and Dank says that Nintendo should make their own accessibility controller. They should. Kika says it kept selling because they kept making Xenoblade games. I have no idea what you're referring to. What does that mean? And then over on the stream, J2 was also still here. Thanks for hanging out for so long. I know it's been like all day basically, but thank you so much. Thank you everyone that joined us today. Thank you to do not thank that motorcycle rider. Do not thank them, but thank you to Kike who came through on the call. Thank you to Mousy who came through on the call. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today and joined us in the live chat. Mousy, J2, Dank, Adagium, I'm trying to get everybody. Patrick was here. Oh God, who else was there? I've forgotten now. Jago, Vinnie Mac, some other people as well. But Johannes, of course, was here. Yeshua was briefly here. So thank you to everybody who. Oh, you're still here, Johannes. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream. I really appreciate a good discussion. Thanks, Dank. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone being here. I don't even know if you can hear this music. It's very chill and like very chill music, but it does not sound like Kirby. It does not remotely sound like Kirby at all. If I didn't tell you that this was like Kirby and the Forgotten Land lo-fi, you wouldn't even know what it was. So we'll find something else next time. This is just because I was trying to shut everyone up for saying I don't like Kirby. It's not true. And Kirby Wii Deluxe is a Wii port. It's a port. Jago. Oh no, Jago's still here! I'm going to end the stream before Jago can respond. Okay. Oh no, he said it already! It is a remaster! It's not a remaster! Oh god, I'm not getting it. See, look, he got me started! He got me started! I'm going to lose my voice. What is it? I'm not talking about my definition of it. My definition of a remaster is not a goddamn 10-year-old Wii game. That's my definition. No 10-year-old Wii games. Okay, thanks for joining us, everyone. And let me put on the... Oh, come on, I nearly forgot. I got that end screen. It's stream ending. You're crazy, Jago. You're the one who's crazy. I just don't understand. I don't understand. This is my definition of a... My definition of a remaster is not a goddamn old-ass Wii port. That's my definition. Okay. I'll catch you next time, everyone.